I already had people complain on me because they said that I rubbed them the wrong way. Did I ever tell you about this?
Well, I mean, if you quit rubbing people, they won't say that.
I know. It's like, I'm not rubbing you. If you want, I could rub you the right way if you want me. If you want to drop trowel, I'll rub you. I'll rub you all the ways. I seem to have an attitude. I'm asking everybody the same questions every day, and I'm just like,
And you're complacent with that?
I'm droning through the day, and I'm like, what do you want me to do? Open the door, like, hi, how are you? Welcome back to work today. Yeah, that's what they want me to do.
I would want that every time.
So I'm going to have this super fake enthusiasm each time now when people walk in, like, good morning! How are you?
Just pretend you're in the military again.
Fake motivation is motivation.
I'm as ready as I'm
And we're back with the Blacklisted Gaming Podcast. This is episode 70.
70.
Brandon's not here because he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
No, he's with his girlfriend today, and he didn't tell me until like 2 hours ago that that's what he was doing. I texted the both of you at like, I texted you guys at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
I'm not gonna lie. I went to the gym. I went to go work out, and I went over to Keisha's place, and I passed out for a solid like many hours.
You guys are on a fucking 4-day weekend. I'm so jealous. I wish I could be on a 4-day weekend.
Get a different job.
Yeah, I'm working on that. I should really work harder on that. I'm in the complacency zone right now.
Oh yeah,
and it's a dangerous place to be because it's just like I have no drive to look for anything else, and at the same time I'm like, but I really don't want to be there anymore.
Yeah,
like I'm at the point where I'm like, I hope they fire me. I really hope they fire me. I already had people complain on me because they said that I rubbed them the wrong way. Did I ever tell you about this?
Well, I mean, if you quit rubbing people, they won't say that.
I know. It's like, I'm not rubbing you. I could rub you the right way if you want me. If you want to drop trowel, I'll rub you. I'll rub you all the ways. But yeah, they're like, they said that like I tend to slam the door behind me. I'm like, which honestly isn't really it's not intentional. I close the door hard because it doesn't close all the way because the wind resistance coming up the walkway.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when they open the back door of our security trailer because they got to go right through it, the wind pushes it shut. So it slams unintentionally. Every time I slam it, it's not intentional. And like,
more importantly, where are all these people who are shutting the door softly at?
I don't know. They said that also that like I seem to have an attitude. I'm asking everybody the same questions every day.
For how many hours?
For 8 hours. I'm like literally asking them, if they've taken sick days, vacation days, any flu-like symptoms. Mm-hmm. Just this whole list of questions I ask every single person that's signing in for the first time. I ask them all the same question. It literally feels like Groundhog Day every day. And I'm just like,
And you're complacent with that?
I'm droning through the day, and I'm like, what do you want me to do? Open the door, like, hi, how are you? Welcome back to work today. Yeah, that's what they want me to do.
I would want that every time.
Oh, man, I even said I'm going to have this super fake enthusiasm each time now when people walk in, like, good morning! How are you?
Just pretend you're in the military again.
Fake motivation is motivation. So, guys, we don't have a lot of topics this week.
No, we don't.
And that's honestly because there wasn't really much news drops this week.
You say that, I feel like next week's going to be fucked.
Next week might be flooded. Pretty much the only news out right now is we got some Grand Theft Auto Definitive Edition that came out last week, and it is not doing well. In fact, it's doing so bad Rockstar pulled all PC ports.
I will have everyone know that I was before anyone told me the performance of the game, I was suspicious of it, and I'm glad
we all were. We talked about it.
Yeah, I know, but like you guys were all like on me because I was hard on the game.
No, I wasn't hard on the game. I was like, I think it doesn't look bad, but it was very suspicious that they weren't really showcasing much of anything before launch. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize the launch was already right around the corner. Like it was coming out in 2 weeks.
It feels like another Fallout 76 type thing where like
it's actually worse.
We saw the advertisements for it, but then it was like instead of like the build up, like how we talked before in one of the episodes, I believe it was like 67, 68, something like that. And we had the announcements come out for it. They're like, hey, they're gonna do this. This is awesome. And then before we knew it, like a week later, 2 weeks, you said the game was out, and you're like, oh shit, they did not put a lot into this, because I think there had been news buzzing and advertisements for like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, like months in advance before like the games came out.
Yeah, there was well advanced notice.
Well, because
games.
it shows that the companies that were working on those were actually like, hey, listen, guys, we want you to know this is coming out, but like they need time to fucking work on it. Whereas like this, same with Fallout 76, it looks like they said, hey, here it is, here's the hype for it, but by the way, we just shat it out.
It was so more so that like not only does the game look nothing like what they showed visually,
well, because that's not a shocker.
They actually broke the game more than they improved it, especially on PC. Apparently on PC it is unplayable. Well, and in fact, this article that I have up, we're gonna go over it. It literally shows comparisons between the old GTA games and the games that are in the definitive edition. It looks wild. It's like what they like. Who looked at this? The character models alone are very. They look like Minecraft characters. They look like Ark characters. Honestly,
hey man, don't insult Ark like that.
No, I'm saying like if you modeled a character to look as ridiculous as possible on Ark, that's what the GTA characters.
Okay, I was like, man, Ark's Survival Evolved does not deserve that kind of slam.
No, it doesn't. It's like I get it. Like the fucking your character creation in Ark is pretty. You can make off the base guy already looks kind of wonky because he's a caveman, but you can also change that to make them look as ridiculous as you possibly can make them. Bless you.
Thank you. But no, you're right. The what you could do in Ark was definitely quite wild.
Yeah. Only the difference is like everyone's like all the resources that could have gone into making Grand Theft Auto 6 went into this, and there was no one asked for this. And like I said, it's doing so bad that it's got a 0.7 Metacritic score.
It makes me wonder if they needed like an influx of cash, and this is the easiest way to get it.
Oh, I have another article that I could talk about that I completely forgot to bring up.
It's not more disgusting porn, is it?
No.
No, fantastic.
Oh, you know what? I tried finding some stuff to show on episode 69, and I couldn't. I showed Alicia Jar Squatter.
Oh, geez.
One Man, One Jar.
Wow.
And she's like, I'm like, you ever seen that? She's like, no. And I started showing it, and I didn't tell her what was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And then she was watching. We weren't recording when I showed it to her, unfortunately, but like, she sat and she's watching. She's like, oh my god. And then she saw the jar pop, and she's like, oh.
I wish you would have recorded that.
I
would
do
have
too.
wanted to see that so
it's a
bad.
regret. Hang on. So the other thing that we're going to talk about is it's also involving Grand Theft Auto is that Take-Two Interactive has removed GTA mods using DMCA strikes.
I don't know how that works, but all right.
So the modding community for like the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, like the older games, obviously mods are a big part of games like that, like Red Dead and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And modders are also really known for improving games.
Yeah.
Well, Take-Two is like no more mods in any Grand Theft Auto game, even the older ones. And then now that they've shut them down, said with DMCA strikes, like copyright strikes.
That just makes me wonder, like, why you like, and I don't even know
because they think they could do it on their own, and they can't.
Well, the issue is in court, would that even hold up? Like, could you even do copyright strikes when if you buy a product and then you change the product, like fucking Ford can't come up to me and be like, you put bigger tires on your truck and now we're gonna give you a cease and desist order. Be like, fight me. How about that? I don't know. To me, it just seems suspicious, and I know it's in the realm of the internet, which is still borderline in its Wild West days. Mm-hmm. But like, it sounds like a lot of bullshit.
Right.
To me, it sounds like, hey, we don't want you to do this because we're tired of seeing people do it better than we can.
Yeah, it's the same with how it was with Bethesda. That's why Fallout 76 couldn't have mods anymore.
I thought that was just because they didn't put enough work into the game. But I'm going to stop talking shit on Fallout 76. But my issue with that though is that, like you said, a lot of times it's improving games. Like there's tons of really old, granted at this point, really old PC games, things like Doom, Quake, a whole bunch of like really old games that
Hit the plus on that light, please. There you go. Sorry, you're just really dark. I'm trying to figure out. I couldn't fix the settings. Anyway, but go on.
But like there's a whole bunch of these games that like they've even modded in things like co-op modes where you can now play with someone else because people desperately for a long time wanted to be able to do that. Yeah. And like it's awesome because the modding community does a lot of really cool things. Because I'm telling you, if you think that things like Left 4 Dead aren't improved by shooting like a whole bunch of Ugandan knuckles, you're wrong. You know, and the issue, like I know I've seen that mod and it is fantastic because they just kind of like run at.
Do you know the way, brother?
No, they just run at you doing the clicking noises, like. And like you just hear like
oh really? I thought it was like do you know the way, like a bunch of do you know the way, bro?
Yeah, no, it is that, but it's just the idea. Like they usually like in passing will make the clicking noise, and like it's just like a tsunami of clicking coming towards you, and you're like, oh my god, oh my god, they're outside. But you know, all jokes aside, like it's shitty though because like it's only like. It feels like one of those other things like in the Wild West of the internet. Like there's now a law or a way that they can like impose their will against it, and it's just something that's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate because we do it better, like 100%. Like the modding community, all these other
look at Skyrim as an example,
or things like net neutrality. Like clearly we were doing it better before y'all got into business, but suddenly they're making it worse. Things like prohibition, fuck that, you know what I mean? But they're doing shit like this over and over, and I don't know what court or who is giving them the authority that they can say, hey, this is a trademark violation or a copyright violation. But that's a problem because it's, again, if I buy your product, I technically own that copy of, you know, the product. You know what I mean? Again, that'd be like Sony trying to sue you because you broke a CD. Well, I tried to change it and I turned it into a piece of artwork instead of using it as a CD. Well, that's our product. See, yeah, but I bought it.
I can see like the issue with mods online, but there's also, you can have modded servers where mods are allowed, and you can have servers where mods aren't allowed.
And that's been around forever.
Yes,
though.
like like every game, like Arma and Squad, like all those games, like they have modded servers, which by the way they improve the game, every single one. Once in a while you have a modded server that's just all about ridiculousness, but like for the most part, it's like for Arma, there's content that it's very.
That's how we got things like DayZ as well.
Right. Yes.
Like it turned into a game and it was just a mod to begin with.
Yeah. Exactly. DayZ was a PUBG mod, wasn't it?
No, I thought it was an Arma 3 or Arma 2.
Oh
mod.
yes, DayZ was an Arma mod.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it just ended up turning into its own game. Like
it was like a zombie Arma game.
Yeah, essentially.
So let's talk about. We're going to talk about Ubisoft today, and there's a little known, not a well-known fact. Ubisoft has had the same issues as Activision. The only difference is that they're not getting sued by the DFEH or anybody.
Good for them, I guess.
But for the last couple years, the Ubisoft workers have been rallying for change and haven't gotten anything. In fact, the Ubisoft shit has been handled worse.
Really?
Yes. And like they've had to, like, people like creative directors, same issues with like Activision Blizzard. They've been losing like big name people in the company over misconduct. But the only thing is like Activision has seemed to been in the spotlight for it over at Ubisoft, and Ubisoft has just slowly gotten away with promising change. And a year or two in since then, and we covered this on the podcast like 2 years ago. Like the end of 2019, that Ubisoft was facing this crazy backlash. Actually, no, it was last year that they were facing crazy backlash over the misconduct. And here we are almost a year and a half later. Nothing's changed. People are leaving. Well, Ubisoft is offering pay raises to stop that. And they're trying to incentivize people to stay. But the pay raises are pretty fucked up. Essentially,
in what regard?
Well, management's getting the higher pay raises, and the normal lower level employees are only getting like a 5% increase, whereas management and higher ups are getting a 20% increase to stay.
I mean, that also depends too. I guess you'd have to look more at it and be like, well, are they losing more management? Because if they are, I could understand why they are getting, you know.
I think it just seems to be like widespread all over. It seems like the one of the issues that has been highlighted by these employees is like a plague of mismanagement. Like, you got mismanagement going on where it's like they're constantly having to replace guys because of mismanagement.
Yeah.
And the low-level workers are the ones suffering through it, yet they're the ones that they're all leaving, I think, at the same rate.
Yeah.
But they're offering this weird pay raise to everybody that's like very like essentially like the guys that make a lot are going to be making more, and the guys that don't make enough are still not going to be making enough. Like even still, like a 5 to 7% raise versus a 20% raise is it's very, very. It's like, oh cool, I won't even notice that. It's like you're going to give me like $1 to $2 an hour versus this guy getting another like 10, $15 an hour.
Yeah.
So Avengers, so this is coming off the heels of the pay to win XP boosts that they put in the store being removed. I don't know if you remember that. They added these XP boosts to the store, and amid backlash, they finally removed them. Well, Square Enix is blaming Crystal Dynamics, saying that they picked the wrong company to make the game. They're blaming Crystal Dynamics for the failure of the game. Which a lot of these monetization decisions are not on the developer. It's always on the publisher. So the publisher's blaming the developer for the reason why the game wasn't successful.
Well, I mean, if you look at most games,
before we get into that, I can tell you right now, it has nothing to do with the fact that Crystal Dynamics made the game. It has everything to do with the fact that Square Enix wanted all these dumbass fucking features in the game.
Oh yeah,
and the backlash was swift.
Well, actually, most of the issues are usually the publishers when it comes to video games. I think there was another YouTuber who was he's on The Escapist. If you ever see the game reviews from a guy named Yahtzee, he'd even mentioned, and I believe a couple of his videos, like when he was talking to developers at things like big gaming events like E3, other things like that, PAX. A lot of times he would see them and he thought that, they would be like, how dare you say that about my game, or about the game that we developed. And a lot of them would be like, hey, no, yeah, these were issues that we complained to the publishers about. However, they weren't given enough time to work on them, or those concerns about whatever topics were wrong with the game were usually swept to the side.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times it becomes very issue driven, because unfortunately a lot of developers, if you're a developer, chances are, and sure, everyone shits something out occasionally, you know what I mean?
Right.
But chances are, if your game is trash, you tend to know. Like, I would hope so anyway. Like,
right.
Hey, this thing has these issues, and if you voice them up, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Much in our line of work, hey, listen, this isn't ready. Oh, we'll put it up there anyway because I fucking said so. Okay, cool.
Essentially, yes.
All right. So it's kind of a shitty situation, but yeah, a lot of times it is the publishers. And unfortunately, when it comes to the whole pay to win thing,
it's so
I don't understand it.
So the XP thing, this is what the issue was. Like Crystal Dynamics promised before the game launched that they would never put anything in the store that would be gameplay changing.
Yeah,
it would all be cosmetic.
Yeah, and that's fine, because if you want to buy that, that's up to you.
And then a couple months ago, they were like, we feel like XP is being earned too fast, so they started throttling. Actually, this is longer than a few months ago. The Crystal Dynamics said that they felt that XP was being earned at a too fast of a rate, and it was overwhelming players and stuff, and so they throttled the XP. And then they had quadruple XP events. And I was like, well, obviously you don't feel like that you're earning more XP is overwhelming to the players if you're just going to take that away and then add it in events.
Yeah.
And then everyone called it, saying that they're going to add XP boosts to the store. This is their way to create it. They created a problem to sell a solution. And then they did.
Mm-hmm.
They added the XP boost to the store, and everyone's like, what the fuck? This goes against everything that you promised that you wouldn't do. And they're like, well, making up these weird excuses. And then eventually with the backlash, they removed it. So
was this Crystal Dynamics or was this Square Enix?
I know how these things work. I guarantee you it was the publisher's decision, and Crystal Dynamics is just doing it because that's what they're being told to do. I can't say that for sure. It's all speculation, but I guarantee that's what it is. So another weird thing that happened this week is that YouTube is removing the dislike count on all videos. So the only people that can see the number of dislikes on a video are the creator.
Okay. I mean, that makes a little bit of sense. I actually kind of...
A lot of people don't like this.
I'm
And
actually not against it. And the reason why is because if you want to dislike a video, one, it keeps... How about this? It keeps bad thumbnails. I was watching a review series not too long ago by a YouTube creator. He does a little bit more analysis stuff. However, excuse me. He was talking about how, like, if you look at like certain titles, like he was talking about In Defense of Dark Souls 2, right? That video. Well, the video was not about defending Dark Souls 2. One, because that game it's too far gone to defend. All jokes aside, what really should have been the title is, and whether you disagree with this or agree with this or not, the title should have been Dark Souls 2 is better than Dark Souls 1, and here's why. Because it always compared the two. So saying In Defense of Dark Souls 2 is kind of a misleading title because you didn't go over defending the issues of it. You know what I mean? But because of that dislike button and because of all that other stuff that people could like see on the surface without watching the video, it means that a lot of people are going to be like, oh yeah, well, I don't like this title. So now I see a bunch of people disliked it. So now I'm just going to dislike it.
The idea behind it is to discourage targeted dislikes. But the other side of that sword is the fact that it also is very unhelpful to people because of the fact that it's really hard to determine which video is bullshit versus another.
Actually, 100% one. If you're going to start judging things, first of all, for anyone out there who likes or dislikes a video, without actually at least viewing some of the video,
if you don't see some of it,
yourself. Like,
right? I agree with that. If you haven't watched the video then...
at all, and I'm not telling you that you need to watch it from second one to the last second. I'm just saying, like, I think that's a good thing because at least on this point, because you should watch some of the content. If you're going to put a judgment on there for the content,
don't judge it until you see it.
Like, not until you see it, or at least most of it, because that's kind of bullshit. But
well, as a user, the like and dislike ratio on videos is also another good way to determine a misinformation video. Whereas like something is a clickbaity video and it has nothing to do with what it says, and you don't. But like now that you can't see the dislikes to kind of, or like you could read the comments.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. For most people who watch a lot of YouTube but are really concerned with clickbait, you spend enough time on YouTube anyway. It's
or
not
even
like
just a video that's like very badly informed, and you can't really tell that's. But now, like with them doing that, like the one defining factor that was visible to you of whether or not a video was actually a well-informed video was the ratio. But if you can't see that dislikes and you go into that video and you're like halfway in, you're like, this is all bullshit.
I mean, if it takes you till halfway in to see if it's all bullshit, it's kind of...
A lot of these guys are really creative about like pushing their videos out where it's like you're here for this information,
but then there's also,
and you don't find out till a quarter of the way or even halfway in.
People also don't understand too, though. It's still, in my mind, it's still pretty neutral because in the same series regarding the same events that I was mentioning earlier with like the Dark Souls 2 defense, those two creators who the one was analyzing the other's video, right? A lot of his other videos that were titled favorably, like, here's why this game is good. You know what I mean? And here's why. Yeah, you're right. If you look at the like to dislike ratio, there are so many more likes on that video according to this one YouTuber, right? But if you go into something like the comment section, as per like, Mahler's video, because the title was really good, it has a ton of likes because it's like, here's why Bloodborne's good. Cool, right? No problem. Because, people like Bloodborne, and therefore seeing a video that says, here's why Bloodborne is good is, you're going to like that shit, right? But then if you looked at a lot of the comments in this video, he mentions, yeah, but if you go into the comments, people are literally talking about how the dude got the argument for the title completely wrong. Sure, we all agree that, this is a good game, but the argument's completely fucked up and it's wrong. Like, the guy doesn't know how to argue for this.
Well, at least
now there's a whole bunch of people who are liking that video and not disliking it because they like the thumbnail title. It's like, that's kind of bullshit.
Well, that could also be like he probably has a few points that he's probably wrong on. But for the most part, the video it holds up well overall.
Well, what I'm saying though is in that realm though of seeing like the like to dislike ratio, now people are seeing, because a lot of people are saying, hey, cool, I like this video game and it says here's why this video game's good, right? You may not watch even a few seconds of that video and someone's gonna be like, fuck yeah, I like that shit. And if you're looking at that like to dislike ratio and you're just looking for a good video to watch, you know what I mean? And you get halfway into this video and find out that the video isn't either very good, well constructed, or the argument's completely fucked up because the guy's either inept or maybe he just got it wrong because of a subjective opinion. Now you have that same issue but in the opposite direction. You know what I mean?
Did you know that none of my videos that I've uploaded have dislikes?
Really?
Not a single one.
I mean, that's not a bad thing.
No, but at the same time, that tells me that it's only people that like me watch my shit. And I'm
not gonna lie, I'm one of your subscribers.
I know you are. One of my 44 subscribers.
Oh hell yeah!
I mean, to be fair, people only watch like 20 minutes of the videos, so
it's kind of sad.
I know. It's like I put a lot of work into making these longer format, and I try to keep them down to like 2 hours if possible.
Well, I mean, if you want, we could start trying to do like shorter episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to kind of experiment with it, but at the same time, for like the listeners who do like the podcast audio is better in long format than the video.
Oh, definitely, agreed. Like I'm just saying, if your audience would like it, and you could take a poll, you could even put a poll out for them, be like, hey, listen, guys, how many of them would like 20-30 minute episodes, and then maybe once a month, twice a month, or something on a schedule that we could find out what they would think that they would like for people who really like and would actually listen to our longer form, content.
It's tough because I want to start gearing the shorter videos towards like clips and shorts and all that stuff, and then other videos that I could make on my own.
Well, part of it too
the longer format ones will honestly once a week a longer format video versus, like all of them being longer format. So like essentially it'd be like my whole goal right now is to eventually mix shorter content with the podcast episodes.
Yeah.
Because as of right now, the YouTube is exclusively all podcast episodes.
Yeah.
So I want to change that to eventually like I'll throw in like a news update here and there or a clip here and there. And
well, I mean, you could also take stuff from like the games we play and just like put those into clips if eventually we get
I'm working on
like...
a Hell Let Loose clip.
Oh my god.
By the way, I want to thank you for getting me into that game.
Oh yeah.
I had there's been a lot of people watching me play.
I was actually shocked as well though, because when that one day when me and you played it, except for that one match where there was 20 of us fighting one man.
The servers are very weird right now.
But the one time that we were playing though, and because again I typically play with a group of my buddies, and we will all record our stuff because we're trying to get into the YouTube channel off the ground there with them. But my issue with it was that typically I always played in party chat because there's 4 or 5 of us. So for like 99% of games, that's a full squad. That's a, full party, whatever, right?
Well, who talks to the commander?
Oh, I'm sorry?
Who talks to the commander?
Every time when we first started, the commander wasn't talking to us. So we said, oh, well, maybe they do other things. And so we started, just going to our party chat.
Yeah, stay out of party chat.
So actually for Hell Let Loose, that one time that when we went in there, we were like doing all that shit. I could not tell you the difference it makes hearing someone say, hey, I'm getting shot at from the right. And being able to,
like a random person.
Yeah. And being able to hear that and be like, oh shit. Like, okay, cool. Like now I'm not getting fucking domed going through somewhere. Exactly. Now it's like, oh, like I can react to it a whole lot better. It was a really good experience.
The game's been getting glitchy recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that because exposure? Or
I don't know what it is, but one of the glitches that I noticed that have actually affected my gameplay in ways was that when I'm running machine gunner, and I deploy the bipod and I start to aim, my bipod like unmounts itself, and I don't zoom in. So every time I try to hit zoom in, it unzooms and dismounts. And it does that on every fucking surface.
Are you trying to move when you do that?
No.
Okay. I mean...
You know what? I wonder if maybe I have my fucking dead zone for movement too low. Maybe that's why it is doing that.
The only reason why I say it is because, like, sure, we had, like, that one match where it was 20v1. But, like...
Yeah, that was fucking...
That was an awesome match. I don't give a shit about how fucked up it was because it was funny, but it was hilarious because that one guy was going at it too. He was like, fuck
he
you.
Tried.
He's like, fuck you guys, I'm gonna fight you anyway.
But then you have these other matches like that are like straight up like this is a fucking movie. And it's funny because like when I streamed it on Veterans Day, I actually had at one point, and this is what actually I got to figure this out. My internet disconnects my stream every 2 hours and 4 minutes on the dot.
Really?
Yeah, to the point where like we all time it, and we tell all the videos like we tell all the viewers like, hey, get ready to hit that refresh button. So we're about to have our fucking stream crash, our hourly stream or our bi-hourly stream crash. Get ready, you guys ready? And it's like we got 45 seconds, and at 45 seconds, stream crashed for about a minute, and then you got to refresh. And the thing that sucks, I had a 70-person raid.
Yeah.
20 minutes before that, I lost all the lurkers, all of them. So I went from having like 50-some people watching to like 12, and I was so pissed. And I've tried getting a hold of Spectrum of this. They came out, fixed the splitter. They said, "Oh, it's the splitter." Then it was still happening. Then they came out and they said, "We can't find an issue. It's definitely your router." I'm like, it's the last person guy said my router. The last person that came out here said my router was fine. I said, I've updated the firmware. I've updated the drivers. Everything on the router is fine. It's not my hardware. It only does it when I'm wired in. And I'm like, you guys are throttling me. And they're like, no, we don't do that. I'm like, bullshit. Why is it like basically like clockwork? 2 hours and 4 minutes of stream time on the dot.
Yeah.
I get disconnected. And it only happens on OBS when I'm streaming. If I'm playing a game, I never get a disconnection. It's only when I'm streaming.
Oh yeah, well because it takes more internet.
Right. And they're saying
100%.
we don't throttle you. I'm like, bullshit, you don't throttle me.
They're not going to tell you that they are. Why would they?
I told them like this is affecting my side business, and I will go. I'll find somebody else as a provider if this isn't fucking resolved. And they told me like, well, so if we have to come out again because we can't find an issue with our stuff, we're gonna have to charge you. I'm like, charge me? You're the one that's fucking disconnecting, not me. I'm not trying to disconnect. So and the other thing is, it only does it on wired. If I'm on Wi-Fi, no issues.
That's odd.
That's what I said. It's super odd. But the thing is, this is.
You can ask other YouTubers too. Their streaming services definitely fucking throttle them. They know that. It's bullshit.
It's super bullshit because it's like it's affecting everything. Like I'll get on a roll, and it's usually around the 2 hour mark that I'm really on a roll.
Yeah.
And then like you'll have like, I don't know, I'll get like 20 people watching me. A lot of them are lurkers. Stream will crash. There's 4 or 5 people left when it comes back online because they're the ones that are actively watching.
Yeah.
And I actually had somebody, I had a lot of people, thank God, from that raid that came back, and they're like, they said, that is crazy that you were able to, that you can time that.
There might have been a lot of people who came back specifically to be like, how the fuck did you do that?
Yeah, they're like, how did you, like, they're like,
how did you know?
They're like, that is crazy that you knew that your stream was going to disconnect. I'm like, it's been happening every stream.
Yeah.
Every 2 hours and 4 minutes that it'll do it. It no shit. 2 hours and 4 minutes on the dot. Stream crash.
That's insane.
And it's like,
however, though, that is a cool, like, maybe for a couple of years, that was probably a pretty cool parlor trick that you pulled. You're like, there's no fucking way this just happened.
There was a viewer of mine that was saying you should really put a countdown clock to the stream crash.
That's kind of, I would do that. 100%.
Like count down a stream crash. Be like, get ready, guys. The stream's about to crash. Keep hitting that refresh button.
Start popping with the memes. Here it comes.
Just make jokes out of it and try to play off of it.
Oh yeah, I would fucking live that shit up.
It's frustrating because it's like it doesn't do anything to my game. Hang on. Oh, but my mod just messaged me. Dude, I gotta give a shout out to Butchmaster. He's a fucking badass mod. He bought me this mouse and keyboard. Right? He also got me 32 gigabytes of RAM. Like, he got me these 2 Corsair RAM drives, these DDR4s.
Oh, yeah.
And he bought those.
Well, that's really cool. I don't know how much that means, but in terms of the computer stuff. But very nice, very nice.
Yeah, he's. I got him a Regiment jersey, too.
Oh, cool. Hell yeah.
Hang on, I'm messaging him. So he's also getting in on the Star Citizen stuff. Oh, so the next thing we're going to talk about Battlefield 2042 and all of its missing features.
I'm not going to lie.
To include the scoreboard.
All the way up, I will just say I have had a blast with the game.
I mean, here's the thing. I've noticed that, yes, you can have fun. However, I'm seeing a lot of people say on PC it doesn't perform well. and it only performs well on lower end PCs.
Weird.
Yeah, like the skill
Is
up.
it because the game's trying to make it do too much, or is
I
that
don't know.
because-
I don't know. But one thing I do
I don't know enough about PCs.
the higher, like I know a guy that his reviews are very reliable. He tries to keep them as middle ground as he can.
Yeah.
He did a review in progress video, which was essentially he's like, I cannot definitively give any kind of true review to this because when they did the play test of like they did this play test last week, where each day, they had, one day they let guys play a certain amount of time of All Out War, which is like Conquest and all that shit. Then the next day they let them play Hazard Zone for a little bit of time. And then the next day they let them play Portal for a little bit of time. From what it sounds like, PC struggles to perform and keep a sustainable frame rate. All Out War seems to drop the most frames. Hazard Zone seems to perform the best. And Portal seems to be the all-around best mode of the entire game. Which, in all honesty, I saw that coming because it's fucking like, you mean to tell me that I could basically make a Bad Company 2 match? I could create my own Bad Company 2 game and use nothing but Bad Company shit, and then like you can mix and match between all the battlefields. It's got all the best features, and there is no specialist class system in there. So like it's basically, it's like they said that Portal seems to be the true love letter that they talked about, whereas the specialists seem to be truly geared towards Hazard Zone.
Yeah,
and they
definitely.
don't seem to work very well in the other modes.
Well, it's one of those things. It's like, how about this? I typically played as Angel when I was going through.
Which one's that?
He is the supply guy. Because, you know, you could kind of have like different loadouts for all the specialists, which is fine.
Right.
But he's the one who can drop like armor and stuff for people, but he can also drop in a forgetting what it's called. It's fucking supply crate, and you can change some supplies that you have. So if you want a medical crate instead, you
can class swap pretty
much.
much.
Almost. Yeah, exactly. And so, but it also refills all your supplies and shit. So like if you're out of fucking grenades, cool, you have grenades, or you have.
Well, what does the ammo box do?
The ammo box?
It doesn't replenish your grenades?
No, but what I'm saying is when you get the big drop, like the big supply drop that he has, it just refills all your shit when you use it. Like, that's all I'm saying.
They've already had to remove one specialist for temporarily.
Really?
It was Dozer.
Dozer? Yeah, his shield.
He apparently could block tank rounds.
That's hilarious.
So
I heard mildly about it. One of my friends said something about it. And I was like, okay, cool, but like we didn't really see any of it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, people caught on, and DICE blocked the usage of Dozer until they fix it.
That's hilarious, though.
Well, that also highlights that these never should be a thing in the game and Conquest. Like, why are these in Conquest? These should be like, they should have done the specialist thing for Hazard Zone.
Oh yeah,
and kept what they normally would have for all the other modes. Because once again, you're still having the issue of who the fuck is who. I mean, now it's not as bad as the beta because there's more specialists out there. But at the same time, it's just like, I still feel like they're very out of place.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it still feels odd because, I mean, that, like, now, because since I played as Angel for all of it, now some of it too, it's like, why do I have this clearly Hispanic man, you know, fighting for the Russians?
Or like even
seems weird. Like,
yes.
And I know like people are like,
or why is there a Korean chick fighting for the Russians?
Yeah.
Or that they're like their first non-binary chick, the wingsuit girl, or person, whatever you call it, the one that has the wingsuit. They said it's the black chick.
Okay.
They said, oh, this is Battlefield's first non-binary specialist. Like, no one cares. Why does that even need to be discussed?
Well, because then it offers them some brownie points because now they're virtue signaling.
Well, even still, it's like you're fighting for the Russians.
I was like, yeah, because the Russians have been known for, you know,
their diversity.
Oh yeah. Well,
and their acceptance to diversity.
Well, actually, it was really funny. Like, I think
which they're quite the opposite. If you didn't know, I feel
like people were making fun of it. I remember there was a comedy skit about something, and he was talking to a Russian guy. He's like, "Listen, no, it wasn't that. Someone was doing a review, and a guy commented on his video, and he kind of called it out because he speaks a little bit of Russian. He's like, hey, you know what? At least my language isn't made up out of racial slurs and fag hating. So, not going to take your opinion on this. I was like, damn, dude, like, calm down, man. Just commented on your video. It's okay. Like,
in my opinion,
yeah, no, the Russians are not accepting of like anything.
No, they're not. They're very, very, very conservative when it comes to things.
You mean totalitarian?
Well, that's the word. They're communists.
Sorry, I think you're
so like
mixing some of those up.
When it comes to my shit in games, I don't care your race, religion, sexual orientation,
especially if
gender.
There's not a fucking story that we're going into for you. Who gives a fuck?
I'm just like, is your character a viable one to use? No, then I'm not going to use you. I don't give a fuck if you're a fucking hot potato. I don't care. Like, if you could be a sponge and have the best fucking equipment and the best subclasses ever, and I still use you. You're like, why you wanting around why is SpongeBob in here? Like he's got the fucking best subclass perks. It's like, I don't care about that shit. The fact is that they're shoehorning all these weird little backstories into these specialists. It's like, oh, yeah, there's no story, so why does it matter? It was the same with Apex.
Oh, yeah.
It was like Bloodhound is a non-binary character. I'm like, I don't care.
Did they really?
Bloodhound is a fun character to use.
Did they really make Bloodhound a non-binary character? That's so weird.
We covered that like when this podcast started.
That's so weird.
Gibraltar's gay, and it was just like, because you read the backstory, he's talking about his husband, and I'm just like, unless you looked into it, you never would know. But like the articles were pushing it, and it was like, why do we care? Do we play these characters to identify with ourselves?
Well,
no.
We gotta tell our mass majority audience of heterosexual males that it's okay to take a dick in the ass. And I was like, that's fine, because like, I get it that, sure, you want a little bit of diversity, that's fine. But one, I don't care about the diversity as long as you're not changing pre-established characters. But also two, it's kind of weird. Like, could you imagine if I made a backstory for someone in something like Battlefield? Could you imagine if one of the characters' backstories was, he is an uber masculine heterosexual male who has a loving trophy wife at home? You'd be like, what the fuck is this for? Like, I'm sorry, but like,
that sounds like Blazkowicz from fucking or like Duke Nukem almost. This sounds like
that sounds like Duke Nukem, but do not put Blazkowicz in there. He doesn't have a wife because he has a fuck buddy because he's still in the middle of a war. All right, but but all jokes aside, though, like it's at least fine though for someone like for Wolfenstein's Blazkowicz, because like it's about his story, him going through this. That's fine. But like, you want me to play as some nameless peon who I only chose this motherfucker because they have a grappling hook, and you want me to like get into their story? Stop like putting that shit in there.
It's just like the guy with the grappling hook is like, he went to college and was educated in liberal arts, and he fought for social justice.
He was on the diversity team.
And it was just like, I don't care. I want the grappling hook, dude. I'm like, oh, you mean I could just fly through the game like Tarzan? Like, that's cool. That's what I want to do.
That's cool.
I don't give a fuck if he was like a shoemaker as a child. I don't care.
Well, the really shitty part too is then they sit there and pretend like they're doing some great thing by making a non-binary character
they're doing this thing because they're trying to create an identity, a relatable identity for everyone. And it's just like,
but the shitty part is that one, most people who play these video games, especially something like Battlefield, you can't tell me that your main audience is not straight men. Like, because we just know it is, because we know that's the demographic for video games. Now, even if you were someone who was non-binary, even if you were someone who was homosexual and you play these games, that's fine. Do you think buried behind all the bullshit of Battlefield, which is fine because, it's fine, it has its niggles that we don't like, that's fair, but do you think by putting in some character card behind 3 menu screens is really making me identify with the fact that this person's non-binary?
It 100% does not.
Oh my God. Like, you're not helping this. It's not like you made a good, well-written story about a character who happens to be, different in some way. You're trying to shoehorn this in as a really lackadaisical way of saying, hey, we hope this brings in a few more buyers who happen to be part of the LGBT community. And I agree with that. Shitty.
I agree with that, because most of the people in that community that play these games, I almost guarantee you none of them fucking care.
Because well, exactly. I was
None
like,
of them are,
imagine
it's not in the front of their minds.
It'd be like trying to sell me a product by saying, "Hey, look, this character's also really big, dumb, strong, and glows in the fucking dark." I'd be like, "Cool, but like that's not why I'm buying this game."
Right.
Like it's actually like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not part of the fucking community, but it's kind of insulting though, because they think by just slapping the LGBT label onto something that these people will just buy it. Because if you want me to think that someone like Ubisoft, DICE, EA, that they give a fuck about the LGBT
especially
community,
because
or
they are
us,
literally getting sued over their fucking the fact that they discriminate against people like that.
Exactly. I was like, do you really think these people give a fuck? They don't give a fuck about us. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care.
No, they look at that community as a fucking moneymaker,
as a potential market, and so they do stupid shit like saying, "Oh, look at this non-binary African-American."
They're exploiting you.
Yeah, exactly.
They're exploiting your community to make a profit.
Oh yeah.
It's targeted marketing. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with the fact that they give a shit about your community. It has everything to do with it. They're trying to get your community to play their game.
Oh yeah.
And that's all it is. That's the only. And people will probably misinterpret our conversation on this as like, you were just a fucking misogynistic cisgendered man that just like you're homophobic.
I mean, to be 100% honest though, I always usually counter those arguments to where if I really thought less of you, one, I wouldn't take the time out of my day to insult you, and two, if I really wanted to keep you down, I'd just beat you up.
The only reason why I bring it up,
yeah,
and people are like, why does it bother you so much? It bothers me so much because it's disingenuous.
Oh, definitely.
And they're only doing it as a way of trying to exploit the community to get you to buy their game, and then completely put everything else that makes the game great on the back burner for the sole purpose of like, hey, get this, look at this.
Because they don't care if the game's shit, to be 100% honest. They just care if you buy it. And if even one person buys the this fucking $70 game because, oh, hey, there's someone in there who is homosexual or whatever splinter cell of society you identify with, the issue is they consider that a worthy investment, and if the game's trash, they don't give a fuck because you already bought it.
Right.
So now it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, it comes into issues of, I always compare it like with a lot of modern products that like push things like feminism compared to something like Alien. Back in the 70s when Alien came out, or was it late 70s, early 80s?
Early 80s.
Point being is when Alien came out, one, it was just a fantastically well done movie. But the difference is though, is that when it turned out that the protagonist was this strong woman, they didn't shoehorn it in. It was just like, hey, Ripley.
It just happened to be Ripley is a badass.
Is just a well thought out character that we over time came to identify with, and she was a well thought of, well done character. So by the end, when she was this badass chick who was the only person who made it out, that and the cat, hey, it's important, all right? But what I'm saying though is that was a well done character, and people beloved those characters. You know what I mean?
Just by their writing.
Just by the writing, because they said, hey, I have a really cool story, and this is what it's going to entail. And that's fine. You know, again, Ripley, if you look at things like Star Wars, people loved Ahsoka from the Clone Wars series, but they hated Rey because her writing was so bad. They weren't even mad at they weren't even mad at the actress for like, oh, she acted poorly. She was fine in terms of it as an actress, but the issue was her character writing was so bad, because when those people went to go do those things, they thought, how are we going to expand our market? Oh, I know. We will try to prey on young women who want something to make them feel confident and powerful, so we're just going to make a Mary Sue character. They didn't think of a good backstory. They didn't think of character growth, development, or changes as she grows.
Not to mention the dead end connection that they've made between her and Finn.
In what regard?
So, like,
are you talking about how they both were supposed to be force sensitive, and then Finn was kind of just swept off to the side?
Essentially, yeah. They made it seem like that there was more of like a story arc between the two, and going into the second movie, when especially after where he's like, "Hey, Ray, what? Oh, never mind." And I was like, "What did you want to say?" And then that never got addressed again. And I was just like, "What did you want to say?"
Well, you know, maybe he had that concussion from that fucking scene on...
and then the other chick, who was the Asian chick, the pilot.
Didn't she die?
Yes.
Good.
At first, I thought she didn't die. And I'm like, but then at
no,
the
because
third one
I
came
remember
out,
because I know what you're talking about, where she fucking decides to fucking T-bone him going 200 fucking miles an hour.
right?
I don't want you to kill yourself going into the fucking like Death Star battering ram. Point being, she T-bones him. So one, hey, by the way, love of my life, I have not only killed myself, but Finn should have died. I didn't want Finn to die because he was a bad character. I just was like, he's dead. Like, that was a 400 total mile an hour car crash that just happened with essentially a needle that drags on the ground and a cockpit. That's it. And both of those things completely shattered upon impact. Finn should have been dead. So not only did you not sacrifice yourself for the greater good to save other people, but me and you are dead now.
I thought the only
God.
I thought the only really cool scene in The Last Jedi was when she fucking went hyperdrive through the ships.
Oh, well, first of all,
By the way, I hated that character.
Yeah, same. I hated that character. That character.
That
was...
one moment where she went hyperdrive through those ships, I'm like, I've always wondered what that would look like.
More importantly, I'm kind of curious as to why it didn't happen more often in terms of Star Wars. Could you imagine?
Because that's a suicide run.
Well, I mean, could you imagine if like you were fucking General Grievous, right? And you knew that you were gonna fucking like, hey, I gotta fucking go. My ass was about to get handed to me. We're leaving. I would have been like, cool. Hey, so Anakin, Obi-Wan, and the Chancellor, who, you know,
they're all in one ship.
Yeah, they're all in one ship. I'm going to not even through another ship. We're gonna put this bitch in the planet, and I'm just gonna leave. Like, I would have done that. Look, holy shit, the Separatists won the war. Suddenly, you know, Star Wars is a very different place. But point being is, there was a lot of bad writing in the sequel trilogy,
even in the prequel.
The prequel trilogy, sure.
It's weird. I went back and rewatched all of it, and I actually have a more of appreciation for the prequel than I used to.
I definitely do, because a lot of the complaints, sure, you didn't like Jar Jar Binks. I could at least respect the fact that Jar Jar Binks had so much less of a role after that, because the fans said we didn't like it. Cool. So he listened to that, said, cool, Jar Jar's
He had a very background role.
Definitely.
In ways.
And it still made sense within the world. Hey, he was really involved in the first string of events. Well, now in these events, he's still there. He's not just gone, but he's in the background. We don't have to deal with him a whole lot. Okay, cool, right? That works well. And then people were like, oh, well, Anakin's kind of a whiny bitch. He's kind of like a whiny preteen. And then honestly, part of me was sitting there like, well, yeah, he is a whiny teenager at this point in time.
He really wants to be a Jedi Master, and he's like, why is it taking so long?
And you got to think, though, too, this dude was also a slave and then literally went into the Jedi Order, where people kept telling him that he's the chosen one, but also untrustworthy. It's kind of sending mixed
I'm really
messages.
curious to this Obi-Wan series. I want to see Hayden's Vader.
I really want it to turn out well, because obviously, like, I don't want it to be bad.
I think it will. I think
as long as everyone who was involved in the sequel trilogy isn't involved at all, then I think we're okay. And of course, I'm being dramatic.
I don't think they are involved in any way. Oh yeah, the sequel trilogies were the sequel trilogy was like,
well,
I mean, like, if you really wanted to make Rey a fucking Palpatine, I feel like I still believe that Snoke was just this weird throwaway character for no reason.
Well, he shouldn't have been,
and he should not have been. He was just, but he ended up being like a throwaway.
Or you should have had writing that supported the fact that he was not the main villain.
Right.
Which would have been fine, because then it's set up. You're like, hey, cool. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, not equivalent to Vader, because Vader is very beloved in terms of the comics, and everything else has a deep backstory. I mean, fuck, the entire prequel series was about fucking Vader. But
essentially, yes.
I mean, basically.
It really was.
It was his story. But it's the idea, though, that like, with Vader, we always knew that there was someone else behind the scenes of him that was pulling the strings. Fine, right? That's not bad. It made Vader still a likable character. But with Snoke, it was like, I'm the big bad guy. And then as soon as he died, it was just like, oh, well, you know, fucking Masters of the Universe. I'm working for someone who's more evil than me. You know, it's like, come on.
It's just like they made it look like Snoke was the background guy pulling the strings. And you're like,
yeah.
There was just a big mystery of who he was. And then it came out in Last Jedi, like, he's nobody. He truly is nobody. Like, and just like all the theories of who he was.
For me, it kind of has it was all a dream feel to it. Like, fuck, dude. Like,
I don't even like.
Well, because they also butchered a lot of characters. Take like Kylo Ren. You know what I mean? came out swinging with some serious big dick energy.
And then they nerfed him.
And then they said, hey, so he got shot by the one bowcaster and he just never recovered. You know what I mean? Like, he used to be an adventurer like us, and then he took a bowcaster to the knee, never recovered.
Or the stomach.
No, I mean, still, it's the idea. Like, people were justifying a lot of things. So I was like, I don't think you understand. The dude was interrogating someone by talking to them while, without focusing on it, holding a blaster bolt, something we never saw in the Star Wars series before. And
in the movies.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But, like, something we'd never seen before in the movies. And... you know, he's just sitting there, and then he says, okay, cool, guys, let's get the fuck out of here, and waits till he's like 50 feet away, and then lets the bitch go, which is cool, right? You know, and then you're telling me that this guy who's been training with Jedi and Sith for fucking, what, he was like 30 in that series?
Something like that, yeah.
You know what I mean? Until his 30s, you're telling me that man wasn't going to steamroll Finn, Rey, whoever was in his way, with the exception of maybe someone like Luke, obviously, because that would make sense that Luke could stop him. Cool, right? Mm-hmm. No, suddenly Finn is putting up a fight, which is bullshit. And then suddenly Rey wins multiple fights with him. Makes zero sense. Like,
as soon as I saw her do the lightning bolt thing, I was like, oh, she's a Sith.
Well, I mean,
she's a descendant of a Sith.
I mean, that's still fine and dandy and all, but like clearly Sith lightning, 1, isn't hereditary, and 2,
no, it's not. It's just well known with that Palpatine did it, like, I mean, in the movies.
Still, it's something that, like, to me is such bullshit. Because 1, it made no sense. She thought Chewbacca was on that ship. Fuck Chewie, I guess. You know, but it made no sense. She didn't want it to leave because her friends were on it, and she's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna take it down."
I'm going to blow it out of the fucking sky.
And it made zero sense because in the movies, we don't see anyone with that kind of power. And you're telling me that this bitch is more powerful than Palpatine, Vader, Yoda, Windu, Obi-Wan.
And then at the end, she's like, she has a yellow lightsaber and says, last name is Skywalker. Like, and I was like, no, it's not!
First off, you know, fuck. Like, I didn't understand why she was like, Skywalker. I was like, first of all, your last name's Palpatine. Shut the fuck up. Second of all, you can't just change your name because you want to. You know what I mean? Like,
how crazy would it have been if she was like Palpatine, and it was like completely turning around the Palpatine name? That I could get behind that instead of being like Skywalker. Like, you're not a fucking Skywalker at all. Like, what? Why just you identify as a Skywalker? What's up?
I mean, you know, we don't know how many genders there are.
I don't know. Anyway, oh god damn it. How was your veteran? How's your 4-day weekend going?
So far it is fantastic. I have done almost nothing for.
Dude, I swear to fucking God. Go on.
I've done almost nothing overly productive. I've been hanging out.
It's a 4-day.
I mean, true, but like. I watched some dogs for one of my HM1s. I dog sat for a couple of days. I hung out with the woman, and I've gone into work out. So
my Veterans Day was spent. Everyone's like, "Did you go get your free food?" I'm like, "I've been here all day at work, so no."
Honestly, I didn't even really go out and get free food. Me and Keisha went out and got some booze and stayed inside to watch movies.
I want to talk about Star Citizen real quick.
What is it? I'm not familiar.
Star Citizen, so you know No Man's Sky?
Yeah.
Okay, so Star Citizen is like that on steroids.
Really? I mean, is there going to be less than no people?
Oh, it's literally.
I'm not trying to be that guy, but you know.
Yeah, there's going to be more. There's going to be.
Eldridge had a hard dick for No Man's Sky, and I just couldn't get behind it.
It's fun. In my opinion, it's still fun. Like, it's way better than it was when it came out. So let me show you. It's basically a giant RPG MMO.
Okay.
But there's a lot that goes into it. It's more than that. So the ships are like, you can walk around in your ships.
Yeah.
You want me to just show you the trailer?
It depends how long this trailer is.
It's not long at all. I mean, it depends on how long this trailer is. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit. All right, let's see here. Remind me later, fucker. So this game is essentially, it is essentially like, let's put it in the perspective of this. If you die in the game, you lose everything in your gear that's not insured. There's insurance.
So,
there's insurance in this game.
MMO Dark Souls?
Pretty much, you can go back and get it, but people can steal your shit. And the only thing that they can't really truly take away from you is stuff that you paid real money on. Which, by the way, guess how much the most expensive ship in this game costs?
In real money? Or
Yeah, in real money.
$50.
$3,000.
Hold on, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
There's no fucking way that a
Swear to
game
God.
could
swear to
even
God.
remotely allow you to buy a
It's a crowd-funded alpha right now. So
What?
Let me show you. I'm going to show you right now.
I can't. Please tell me that doesn't happen.
It does. The most money that people have spent in this game is like 40 grand.
What?
You don't have to spend this. Everything in the game you can use with in-game credits to buy it. You can even rent ships. Like Regiment actually has its own Star Citizen fleet, which they have their own ships, and they like actually buy these ships for a couple $100, and you could keep them. You keep them, and essentially like and then you have to buy insurance to keep all the upgrades and all the cargo and stuff, which you can use in-game currency for that. Honestly, you don't ever have to spend another cent outside of $40.
Is that just to buy the game?
Essentially, like you pledge a ship, which is like you buy a ship, and the other crazy part is a lot of these ships, they're not available yet.
You mean the ships that people have been spending $3,000 on
are not in the game.
Are not in the game yet?
Correct.
What the fuck?
There's a lot of development issues.
Hold on.
That
Who
happen.
has this kind of money to spend?
Rich fucks. All right, watch this shit.
I couldn't imagine. You're gonna have to tilt for me unless you want me to get.
I'm 100% gonna tilt for you. Just stand by.
That's a good tilt.
Ooh, I don't have any fucking audio for you. Actually, here.
Ooh, I have the important headset now. Maybe.
Now, one thing about this game is that everything in this game is not rendered by AI. This is all handcrafted.
Okay. I can appreciate the,
So this is we're watching this trailer right now for Star Citizen for those that are listening. Let me turn the fucking audio capture down. It looks sick, doesn't it?
It does. I think my only issue is some of the bullshit you've told me.
It's not nearly as bad because I thought it was insane. I was like,
Yeah.
what? And then you got to pay for insurance. But it's not nearly as bad as you would think. It basically wants you to treat your ship like with value. It doesn't want you to just have ships to just throw away and shit. Like it wants you to treat your ship with value.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like that. Shit. But like, definitely, I'm in favor of that kind of thing. Of like, hey, listen, like, the stakes are high because shit's gonna suck if you don't take care of it.
Right.
But
so if you die in this game, like everything that you have on your person, you drop it. It's like Tarkov.
yeah.
And unless a teammate recovers it, you recover it, you don't get it
Shit's
back.
gone.
It's
Yeah.
gone. Somebody else can just take it from you. So it's like Tarkov in that aspect.
Yeah.
Now let's go to ships here. Here, let me show you guys. Wow. I didn't want to show that. I wanted to show that. All right. Let me go to the ships here. Where are you at? Pledge store. There it is. So you go to Pledge store. Okay, ships. Oh, let's go to packages, actually. Game packages.
Ooh, yes. There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What kind of money do these people think this shit's gonna be?
You know how much
about?
money this game has made off the crowdfunding?
How much?
$300 million. And it's been in development since 2012. It's not even out yet. It's still in alpha. They actually, every 18 months or so, they do like a complete wipe. So everything you've earned in game is gone, including your credits. Everything that you've earned in game up to the wipe is completely gone. The only thing you truly keep is anything you spend real money on.
Right, which makes sense.
Which would no one would ever support this game if they did that. The reason why this game has become so delayed, and this has actually been a point of conversation for a while. What is going on that this game has made so much money, and here we are, it's been in development since 2011, still no release date. Well, the guy that originally directed the game was taking money from the crowdfunding, skimming off the top. He got fired and replaced. And before he got fired, there was no playable version of this game. So there was still like in just concept.
Yeah.
All of it. And everyone's like, when is this fucking game coming out? Someone even said that, like, I have graduated college, started my career, gotten married, and started a family. And by the time that all in the time that Star Citizen was announced of me starting to pay into the crowdfunding, to the point where it's still not even out yet. Like, I've done all these things and still haven't played the game yet. So a lot of people have jumped ship. Now, in the last year and a half, it is completely. They've been rolling out each star system out every year. So right now there's like only one playable star system. Next year they're gonna launch another one, and there's gonna be fucking hundreds of them, and it's gonna be massive. And as of right now, because it's still in alpha, that one star that there's like I think the server is like 65 people.
Yeah.
In the entire system. But you can do. There's definitely NPCs. They're still working on the AI. And it's essentially like you play in the server with your teammates. It's like being in a straight up. It's like being a Mandalorian. Like the regiments thing is essentially Mandalorians, bounty hunters, mercenaries, like freelance, like military for hire, private military. Like use them for VIP escorts, hits. Like you go they post jobs on the thing. Like who wants the bounty? You can claim the bounty. Like I'm gonna go to the bounty. They tell you which server it is and the location that this person was last seen, what they look like, and the price of the bounty, which is usually like it's all in game credits. And then you go and then you kill the fucking guy. And essentially what it is, like in this last contract, that's the recent contract, was a guy that was griefing other people, like stealing their ships, killing them, stealing their cargo, stealing their gear, and they hired Regiment to go kill him. And essentially, like in this game, when you die, you lose everything you didn't pay for. So basically, when you kill this guy, he respawns with only things he's paid for. Everything that he's stolen is gone.
Yeah. So
it's like he has to start over as this little dumbass thief. Then they're eventually, I think it's patch 3.17, they're going to introduce arresting players. So you can put them in jail and have them serve time. So every time they log in, they're in jail.
Oof.
So if you act like a complete piece of shit, people are going to come after you and they're going to lock you up. And then every time
I feel like for a game like this,
I think it's only in that server. If you log into that server, like you are in jail in that server. You can start in another server and whatever. I think. But like they are gonna add a surrender option to where like you can. And the thing is, now here's one thing that one of the guys in Regiment that runs this whole fucking fleet for Regiment, he explained this to me. He said that the people that spend all this money in this game definitely don't have an advantage over you, because there's several things that factor into these ships. Larger, more expensive ships require a crew to operate them the way they should be.
Right, you can't just buy a big one.
You can't just buy it and then run it on your own. It won't work. And the AI can't do it for you because there's no AI that can yet. And they're working on it. Eventually you can hire AI, and
that's just going to be a bigger drain on your resources if you got to hire them.
Well, if you're a big fleet and you have plenty of income.
Yeah, but that's if you're a big fleet. I mean,
you don't even have to be a big fleet. If you're like an active fleet and you have an active income in the game's economy, like essentially it's like how New World is. It's got a real economy.
Isn't that the one that ran out of trees?
Yeah, one ran out of trees and ran out of money.
I don't think I could consider that an active economy.
No, it's a destabilized economy, but right now, like, the economy in this is pretty good because you can earn a lot of credits, and because like every time you fly your ship, you got to buy fuel, buy ammo.
Oh yeah,
and it basically is like telling you, like, you can't just go fly around shooting shit because you're using your resources that you have to pay. You're using credits, and if you end up keep jumping into fucking crazy situations and getting your ship destroyed, you're
gonna run out.
You're gonna have to keep. You're going to be paying insurance premiums with your credits to fucking get your shit back that you lose. Yeah. So it's like, it wants you to play like intelligently. It doesn't want you to just go into this thing all willy-nilly. It's basically living a second life if you were a fucking member of like a space society.
That's pretty cool though. I mean,
and that's the one thing that I was like, fuck this game, was when I thought like, you got to pay for insurance and shit. Like, it was looking like that, but no, I found out like everything in the game except for like essentially the first, you could literally just drop $40 into this to buy your first ship and join a fleet and stuff, and everything is provided for you when it comes to like other ships and resources. Like like Regiment, like they're working on getting a maintenance fleet and all that stuff to repair ships, to where like it's not going to cost you anything to do that shit. It's just going to cost the client that hires you. So so the money that they earn is going to be used to like resources and other added stuff and improving the fleet and shit. So where it's like, we won't need insurance. Like, you're like, anything that happens, like, we'll have recovery fleet, we'll have repair fleets, all this stuff. So it's like, when you are part of a group of people, like you got a community of guys behind you that'll help support you, like in case, you know, like a mission goes south and you're like not stuck dealing with a burden of recovering all that shit.
Right. You can actually,
So
that's pretty cool though.
There's a lot that goes into it that I was not aware of, and I was like, this is all about fucking money, and it's actually not all about money as I thought it was. So let's get into the topics, guys, because we are an hour in, and I want to breeze through these topics because there ain't much. So, Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition is a mess. Yay! So the Grand Theft Auto trilogy is rife with enough bugs and glitches to make Cyberpunk 2077 flitch, which is true. Damn. It's that bad. The game, which just released this week, is currently unavailable to purchase after Rockstar removed the purchase links from its website. Is filled with graphical glitches. Players are cataloging these issues and other unintentionally funny problems all over social media and sharing disbelief, amusement, and confusion. It didn't take long for people to start finding an assortment of issues with the high-definition remakes of Rockstar's 3 classic games. Players are capturing footage of blinding rain effects, invisible bridges, spontaneous blood pools, ridiculous camera angles, questionable changes from the original versions of the game, and much more. For the most part, these issues haven't prevented people from running it, but it's not a good sign this early into its release. So let's see. So here's San Andreas, right? Here's the original character model. Here's the remaster character model. Pretty fucking bad, right? Like, a lot of the detail is missing. Here's this one. This one's fucking hilarious. I want to open this one and expand it a little bit more so that you could see it. So if you look at here, the number 9 is literally, is no shit, just stamped over the number 7. Right? Look at his arms. What the fuck? Look at these character models. Right? Look at her fucking cross-eyed face. Look at the stripper in Vice City. Why is her head like, why does she look like a shrunk head fucking, like one of the fucking Goombas from Mario? That's really what she looks like. Here's the waitress. She looks like a fucking lunch lady from hell. You got these dudes. Look at that. Look at his traps. Why does this look like a fucking off-brand Morgan Freeman? And this is what he looks. I mean, I think that looks better than this, even though there's more detail here. I don't know. I feel like that character model looks okay. The gun's all crooked. And this dude,
he's just holding it like a gangster, like
what, at the ground to the side.
Yeah.
Look at his hand. This dude's got Simpson hands.
Oh my god! Look at the biker down there, the guy who only hits legs.
Here, Let me move my Let me move my camera on this so you can see this AK, guys. Look at that fucking AK. It looks like it's made of wood. Completely made.
It looks
of
like
wood.
they wrote that shit out of Team Fortress 2.
It's not good. It's really not good. All right, let's close out of this.
I wonder, and this is how I knew that they rushed it for a money grab. It's like, who could have looked at that and been like, yeah, that's solid. We'll do that.
All right, let's look at this. Oh my God, that is a blinding rain effect. Look at that. It looks like a snow. It looks like a blizzard.
Like a blizzard. Like a.
How do you fucking see? See this. The bridge over Whetstone is transparent. Oh, it is. Look at that. There's no bridge. Yeah, this is again. And then the number 9. Said you can find broken textures of flickering wherever the camera moves around, or maybe it's a super secret garage besides the real garage. Oh my God.
Very nice.
Well, the point is, all the resources that went into this game. What is this? The definitive edition. Says you'll find plenty of general spelling errors. Think that they used automated tacos, huaraches, enchilada. Oh. That's not a D at all. Enchiladas. Enchiladas.
That was.
Enchiladas. They got fresh enchiladas. So anyway, the odd thing, players are reporting frequent misspellings, city signs, and posters. Some have suggested look like the game's upscaling was done by an automated program instead of a human, which I completely believe. In contrast to those confusing changes, Rockstar decided to leave the GTA San Andreas mission, where a character tasks you with hunting down an apparent gay man to hide prior relationships with him, completely intact. It's not a good look for remastering a game in 2021. This isn't even a fucking remaster, honestly. Looking at all these photos, this was like the most half-assed remaster I've ever. This is basically, we just tried to fucking use a program to upscale graphics, and it just completely glitched out.
This was even a half-assed done port of a game. They just tried to port it to the new consoles and to the PC.
And they still charged, I think, $50 or $60 for it.
Again, I told you, this is just a money grab. They did this as fast and as lazily as possible. People bought it because we're idiots. And then they were just like, hey, yeah.
Well, when they announced this game, the backlash from the community was swift. Like, nobody, when they announced this, they're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why?
Because no one asked for it. No one wanted this. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not that I don't like the first 3 main games in the series. Like, sure, we loved them growing up, but people for a long-ass time have been talking about fucking the new GTA that's going to come out, GTA 6, which is by far not the 6th, the GTA, but still, point being, it's the idea that we wanted this, and
we don't have it.
And then they're like, hey, so I know that you guys really want GTA 6, but we're still in development. We're like, okay, cool, not a problem. You're in development. We get it. You have to make the game. And then they're like, but we do have this. I was like, so you took time out of your fucking day to remaster 3 games that we didn't want done, and you're going to charge money for them.
Right.
Like, the fuck do you mean? It's the same exact thing that happened when fucking Bethesda was like, hey, here's Elder Scrolls Online. Not a damn person except for Alicia wanted this.
No one's talking about the fucking new the Skyrim.
You mean Skyrim or like the new Elder Scrolls?
The new Skyrim that came out on Veterans Day.
Oh shit, sorry.
11/11 was supposed to be the new special edition of Skyrim, with the like the graphical upgrades.
Well,
no one's talked about that. I don't even know anything about it.
I don't either, and I don't know what was going on with that, but it's still the same thing too.
It's $50 for it.
I'm not buying it. I've already bought Skyrim probably 3 different times.
That's why everyone's like, well, why would I buy this again?
That's been my own fault because switching systems and doing other things.
Right.
But not their fault. But it's the same thing too. Like when they came out with Elder Scrolls Online, like I jokingly was like, yeah, no one asked for it except for Alicia because I've seen her play it before. But it's the idea that like no one, like honestly, if you would have asked any fan any time after Skyrim came out who was like, hey, you know, it's been 5 or 6 years, you know, we wanted this, and I know that Elder Scrolls Online came out a few years after Skyrim. Hey, what do you want them to work on? Do you want them to work on the next Elder Scrolls series, next Elder Scrolls game, or do you want them to work on a half-assed MMO? no one wanted them to make an MMO. Not a single person who likes Tamriel and the lore and everything behind that with the Elder Scrolls games wanted this fucking MMO. Not a single person wanted Elder Scrolls.
No, they wanted
Online.
Skyrim with friends.
They either we talked about that before,
right,
Skyrim with friends, and that would have been fine. If they even if they would have said, hey, listen guys, we're going to charge $50. It's Skyrim completely redone. You can play it with up to 4 friends. And you know what? I might bitch the whole time, but I would buy it as soon as it came out if I could co-op Skyrim with my buddies. But no, they're not even doing shit like that. They're just like, hey, we're going to do a stupid ass MMO that totally fucks with the background lore of fucking Elder Scrolls. And we're going to make it to where everything is less graphical quality, but we're still going to advertise it like you can play this bitch like Skyrim.
Right.
You cannot play Elder Scrolls Online like Skyrim and just venture into a town and stumble upon adventures to get into. Like,
no, you can't.
No, you have to actually, do normal MMO shit. And anyone who likes Elder Scrolls at all doesn't give a fuck about the MMO if they're looking to play an Elder Scrolls game. Unacceptable business practice. And whoever thought of it needs to be castrated, as far as I'm concerned. But, it's the same thing that GTA's done here. Hey, we want the GTA 6. No one wanted these remasters.
Speaking of remasters, though, they're remastering Red Dead Redemption 1.
No one gives a fuck.
And everyone's now, after this, everyone's like, we don't want it.
Yeah.
We don't want that. Like, don't remaster that game because you are just going to fuck that up, too.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it's not like they mastered Red Dead Redemption 1. That game was buggy as fuck.
No, but it was still enjoyable.
I mean, no, it was, and it was playable, but it's just the idea,
and then, here's it's going to have an unrealistic expectation with those that play Red Dead 2.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have...
quality of life, the graphical
everything
upgrades.
about Red Dead Redemption 2 is fucking fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I liked it this far. But...
I mean, I get it. There are some people that are like, it is just too detailed. Like...
To a degree, I can understand.
I do too, because like when it came to like getting things out of like houses and stuff, you were literally nitpicking through everything, which was annoying. But at the same time, it was like whatever, you got over it. But like overall, Red Dead Redemption 2 is just like that was a well done game.
Oh yeah,
and it was honestly mostly like aside from a few bugs here and there, it was very polished.
No, I mean it was, but again, it's the problem is that we all know Rockstar at this point, and I think what ended up happening was fucking, and I may be fucking wrong, but it's right now it's looking as though Rockstar sat on GTA 5 for as long as fucking possible, instead of making new products, instead of making new content, or instead of starting development on other games. I'm not going to lie. If you let a game run and it happens to run for 10 fucking years and you're using that time to develop other games, ain't no one who enjoys video games is going to be upset with you. Because no, of course. Like,
but if all your focus is on that one game, it's just like, where's the other one, dude?
Well, it's not even just about focusing on it, because clearly they didn't focus on GTA 5. That game is still buggy. It's the idea that, like, even though GTA 5 was great and we liked it, they just let it be. So essentially, as far as I'm concerned as the consumer, Rockstar has sat there twiddling its dick for fucking 10 years and done nothing. Clearly, they didn't work on these remasters. You know what I mean? Clearly, they haven't worked on GTA 6 because that bitch is still in
They're
less
just
development.
pumping it out to make some money.
And it's insane. Like, I can't, like... No one's going to believe them when they're like, hey, we're going to remaster Red Dead 1. Okay, cool.
No one's going to look forward to it.
No one's going to want it because now they see the quality that you're putting towards this. And unfortunately, even still, there's still, I don't know how prevalent it'll be, only because I know that Red Dead 1 was on like the 360. I don't know if it was on PS3.
It was.
But point being is that typically speaking, if you have an Xbox, you could still play Red Dead 1. If you wanted. Okay.
Sorry.
You could still play it. So, but the issue is then, do you want to spend that money on a remaster? And you say, oh, well, some people maybe yes, but unfortunately, if it's still accessible, like there's no point. Sure, I could understand when like something like Dark Souls or Dark Souls got a fucking remaster, right? Well, if it, going from the 360 generation, PS3, 360, there wasn't a whole lot of just downloadable games that you could have. But you could from the 360 and from the PS4, I mean, not the 360, but the Xbox One and the PS4, going into PS5 and the Xbox whatever refrigerator unit they have now. Point is that you could.
It's called a Series X, Nelson.
The fact that Bill Gates allowed them not to call the Xbox One the Xbox 720 let down everybody, and I hope he gets cancer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was why
you set it up so perfectly?
Xbox's names have always been strange,
and then they fucked it up. But anyway, what I'm saying though is that now that we have games that are easily transferable, like I can play PS4 games like that, no problem, right? In fact, I even have access to PS3 and some PS2 games via the online portion of the PS Store, right? Mm-hmm. I can understand things like Crash, Spyro, something like Sly Cooper. A lot of those games getting remasters because you cannot on modern consoles reasonably get it on there, right? You can't do it. But, the remaster, that's fine. Because you're right, I couldn't play Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, or 3 on my PS5 or on my PS4. That's fair. I understand why, they would give it a remaster. But when it comes to something like Red Dead, I just think that that's such a bad idea because people who have Red Dead on their Xboxes can still play it.
Yeah.
And they still have access to it. So it's like, why are you remastering it? Clearly you just want more money. And the fact that they shat the bed on this means that they're not going to do any better on Red Dead. Like, I don't know. This is just really bad business practicing, and it sucks. No one should buy this product. And I don't even give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if they do a good job on the Red Dead remaster. You shouldn't buy it because
don't buy it. I agree.
This is just them trying to make more fucking money. And you know what? They wouldn't have a problem with money if they were doing their fucking job of making good video games in the last 15 fucking years that they've been sitting on GTA 5.
100%, yeah. So let's talk about Take-Two removes more GTA mods.
I've been getting on a lot of fucking soapboxes here.
You have been.
Fuck.
All right, so Take-Two Interactive removes more GTA mods using DMCA strikes. Some of the mods are related to GTA 4, sparking speculation of a remastered version of Rockstar's 08 open world crime game. What's up with the fucking remasters, man? As players continue to criticize the recently released GTA Trilogy Remastered collection, Rockstar Games' parent company Take-Two Interactive has decided that this is the perfect time to use DMCA takedown notices to remove some more GTA mods and fan projects.
So I don't understand why. So not only did we say, hey, we know you hate our product because we're shit at our jobs, but I'm going to put something else out there that you're going to hate us for even more.
Well, we will find out. God. So on November 11th, according to the folks over at GTA modding site Liberty City, Take-Two contacted them using a DMCA strikes to remove 3 different GTA-related mods. The 3 removed mods are listed below. GTA Advanced PC Port Beta 2, The Lost and Damned Unlocked for GTA 4, GTA 4 EFLC The Lost and Damned 65%. GTA Advanced PC Port is a fan-developed project attempting to port the game into the GTA 3 engine, developed by Digital Eclipse. GTA Advance was only released on the Game Boy Advance in 2004. The Lost and Damned Unlocked for GTA 4 is a mod released in 2009, which lets players swap out the star of GTA 4, Nico Bellic, with a protagonist from Lost and Damned DLC, biker Johnny Klebitz. It also included some new biker outfits and icons. Finally, GTA 4 EEFLC 65% isn't even a mod. It's just a save file for the game that lets players start from 65% completion. Yes, Take-Two used a DMCA strike against a save file for a game released over a decade ago. These are just the latest growing number of GTA mod Take-Two has gone after and removed using legal DMCA notices. Over the last year, the company has been on a takedown spree like GTA character on a rampage. It has also sued fan devs over source code projects and led some old mods like GTA Underground shutting down over fears of more legal financial trouble. The last time these kinds of mod takedowns happened, the mostly targeted classic PS2 era GTA games like Vice City. Not long after, and following Kotaku's own report in August, Rockstar confirmed remastered versions of all 3 classic PS2 GTA games were released this year. Oh yeah, so they are doing it over remasters. So they're remastering games and then DMCA striking people that make mods. So
is that to try to encourage people to buy the new product?
Probably. Those games have since released earlier this week, mostly negative reactions, with fans sharing numerous bugs and graphical glitches on Twitter and Reddit. Because of what happened last time, some are speculating these takedowns are evidence that GTA 4 Remaster might be coming sometime in the future, according to sources who have spoken to Kotaku in the past about Rockstar's future remasters. GTA 4 as well as Red Dead Redemption remasters are possible, though plans can and do change, and with recent backlash facing GTA remasters, Rockstar might be more hesitant on greenlighting future re-releases. Regardless of these takedowns are evidence of future GTA 4 remaster or not, it is still a frustrating situation for modders and community devs who have spent decades improving, porting, and maintaining the classic GTA games, allowing fans to play them years after Rockstar had moved on. Kotaku spoke to some modders who seemed fed up with Rockstar, and many more have moved on to other games from other companies, worried about potential legal pitfalls continuing the mod Grand Theft Auto titles. So essentially, they're going after the modders, and the modders are like, dude, this is fucking stupid. Like, they keep coming after us. They're quitting the mods. They're moving on to other games to mod because it's like, and even still, it's just like they're preserving the older games.
My favorite thing is just, so now that I have a little bit more context, it definitely seems like they are trying to do everything in their power to get people to not play the old games or be able to make the old games unplayable, because obviously nobody's going to want that shit. Do you mind if I steal one of those?
You want one?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to get into some nicotine now?
Nah, just a little bit. I've substituted every so often with the Zen pouches.
You ever had these?
Yeah.
The coffee ones?
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorites. Although they keep running out all over the fucking place. Dude, the price of tobacco right now is nuts.
It makes me glad that I quit when I did.
Me too.
But
dude, Red Man is almost $20 a thing, a pack now up here.
Really?
Yeah, it's like $17 for a fucking.
It was weird
bag of Red Man.
I almost broke the other day when I went to a gas station because it's not that expensive everywhere. Right down.
Were you at the exchange?
No, There was a gas station right outside the hospital, over FHCC. I was down there. There was a Red Man pouch, and he advertised it to me. I did not buy it, but it was $2.99 for a bag of Red Man.
$3?
$3 for a bag of Red Man. What?
Where is this?
Heard of?
Dude, I've never even heard of it being that low. I think the lowest I've ever seen it was $5, and that was on the exchange on overseas.
Yeah.
I've never fucking. That's insane. $3.
He
doesn't know what he's sitting on.
Well, the reason why is because you gotta understand the way he explained it to me. Because I was just trying to buy a couple of the coffee energy drinks, the Monster Javas.
Yeah.
Because I was dying that day. I didn't sleep very well the night before. It was insane because I went in there and he was like, "Hey, what's it called?" He was like, "Hey, do you want to buy some of this?" And I was like, "No, why?" He's like, "I just need to get rid of it because no one around here buys it." It's like, "Well, what do you mean?" Because all the service members who dip, which admittedly is a few, but
few,
right? You got to think native Chicagoans and native Illinoisans people.
Illinoisans.
Anyway, yeah. But point is, people from this area tend to smoke cigarettes, not really dip tobacco. So a lot of that kind of stuff isn't there. And right now, what's really popular is Copenhagen, not Red Man. Loose leaf tobacco chew is not as common here.
It never has. Honestly, it hasn't been for a long time.
I was honestly thinking I was this close to buying it and
selling it,
fucking selling it to other service members. Fuck yeah, dude.
You were gonna do what fucking Doc does, what Eldridge does.
No, because I actually understand how much nicotine addiction hurts. Whereas like fucking Eldridge over here has just got micro penis energy, and my man here is just like, "Oh, I'm gonna make a couple of bucks because I'm gonna spend my dumbass paycheck on a pair of pit vipers." Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, I'm telling you. I gotta do a Macho Man stream.
Dude, do it. You should do it and hell let loose.
Oh my god.
Hey, brother.
Hey.
Which point are we going towards?
I can see Hitler over the berm. Yeah, he's coming over the berm now. I got a Tiger tank and I got a couple of Verschmuck guys coming, and they're flaking over to the right side. Yeah. If you only the cream always rises to the top. Yeah, I'm telling you that once in a while, the Macho Man, he gets his MG42 up, yeah. Gonna feel that M1 Garen plink, 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 bang.
But you gotta watch out for that grand thumb. Oh yeah.
Whenever you put the clip back in after you hear the plink of the M1, yeah, you gotta get your thumb in there and you gotta pull it out, yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna get that M1 thumb, and you don't want that. That's gonna be a painful time for you, yeah. Macho Man doesn't like that, no. Oh my god.
Oh man.
Doing that, my voice would be fucked. All right, so let's talk
Especially
about...
with how long Hell Let Loose matches are.
I was in... Actually, this was a squat. Actually, Hell Let Loose matches I've seen. I've had one that lasted over 2 hours.
Are you fucking serious?
I had a squad match last that long, too. Did I hear Alicia yell? Uh-oh. I think the dog went through the garbage. Anyway, so I was in a squad match, and it was legitimately 2 fucking hours.
Dude, why were you there that long?
I didn't realize I was there that long. I was on a roll.
I mean, I guess that's not a bad thing.
No, I mean, I stayed committed to the match. Well, the thing about Hell Let Loose is, like, especially if you're, like, let's say you're 40 minutes into a match, and it's still going, you are too deep into it now to where if you leave, you lose all your progression. You lose everything. You lose all the XP progression.
Trust me, I get it. I get it, man. I do.
So it's like once you're in a match, like you're committed. Like I remember one day I was playing and the match kept going and I had to get ready for work. I handed the controller to Austin, my brother, because he was in town, and he really wanted to play it. He's like, dude, I want to play this. I'm like, play it. Here, I got to get ready for work. Keep playing the match, and when the match is over and you want to be done, you can leave. He said, but until then, like, stay in this. I don't want to lose my XP because the XP grind in that fucking shit is real. Like each class is its own XP grind.
Yeah, no, it is. But also too, you got to think as well. If you get into a lot of matches, like if you really like to play the game, you know, I'm not gonna lie, like I got pretty good progress at going as the medic class because, you know, you play a match with your buddies and you're in there for 2 hours. You usually get quite a bit there. It's not like you're getting like little tiny.
No, you rank up several times.
But
and
however, though, you are right though. If you get an hour and a half into a match, you're not just gonna drop the match to be like, oh yeah,
you're in too deep. Now it's like everything that you because if you do that, you leave. Like all that progression you worked on is now gone. So I learned that like the 2 classes that I'm best at are squad lead and fucking AT. Like I'm a really good tank killer. Like I can if I have someone there to support me to watch my back,
yeah,
I can get behind the back of a tank and smoke that bitch. Because the turret, especially if the turret's not even looking at me, how slow those turrets move.
Yeah,
like you hit them once in the back, like their mobility is now fucked. They can't go anywhere. You just pop them in the back one more time, tank's gone. No matter if it's a tiger or what.
Well, I mean, most of the time. Excuse me. Most of the time, sorry, the Macho Man voice really is getting to me. But
maybe if you had your bones drop a little bit, you'd get there. Yeah. Did you know Macho Man made a rap album?
No, I didn't, but I do want to see that now.
It's fucking bad. It's so bad. I'm like, I found this out like promoting the fucking episode you were on last.
Yeah, I know. We talked about this before, where we were like, you said it was really bad. It was just like, dude, yeah, what do you expect?
I mean, I expected it to be bad, but I was like, it was.
Tell me it's in stereotypical Macho Man fashion the entire time.
It's like, yeah,
he doesn't like lose like the persona, man. Like, no.
Yeah, no, it's Macho Man through and through. It's
fantastic.
Just, it was made in like the 2000s, so it's like post Spider-Man Macho Man.
Oh, awesome, even better.
Yeah, it's.
But
on Hell Let Loose, go on.
Shit. No, when it comes to like a lot of games like Hell Let Loose or a lot of other things, I tend to like to anti-vehicle hunt because when it comes to like other like players, like a lot of times they can be predictable and you can get rid of them, but the vehicle's just like obviously I can't shoot the vehicle.
One thing I've noticed in Hell Let Loose, there's not enough AT soldiers.
Really?
Every time
I tend to play
we get overrun with
because I
tanks
do that
every
with
match.
most things when it comes to games. Like even when we were playing like Monster Hunter, which you should get into, by the way.
It's not my jam. I've already tried.
All right, that's fine. But I play as the hunting horn because yes.
See, my experience in Hell Let Loose, there's been so many times where tanks roll up to the point we're capping,
and no one knows what to do.
No one is there to take it out. And there was one match that it was actually the match that I was playing.
Well, because it does suck though, because since I tend to play like the meta class or the healer in whatever games, especially in Hell Let Loose, I don't even have a grenade to like, oh, I can do some like a little bit of damage to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or like, oh, it's almost dead, but you know
I don't think even grenades do anything to it.
But it sucks. Well, I mean, I would hope that they do at least a little bit, because even in like typically like Battlefield or Call of Duties, like you can throw a grenade, or at least I know in Battlefield historically speaking, you could throw a grenade and it would do like some damage, not a lot. Like you more than likely would not get the kill with it, but you could do something about it.
I wish grenades could track.
What do you mean?
Hit the track.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Like
but they don't.
Nice.
They don't.
Sorry, bud.
They definitely don't.
It would be nice. You're right. Like even if you could just put like something that doesn't damage the tank, like you're gonna kill it. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you're right. Because admittedly speaking, even if you get a grenade that is kind of meant to get rid of the track on a tank, you're right. Does that really hurt the structural integrity of it being able to take another shot? Not really. You're not going to do anything to that with a grenade. But if you did something like that and you fucking broke the track on it, it could be nice to where, oh, it can only kind of slightly like turn itself to one side because of that other track, and it can't really like move very well. That'd be an awesome addition to mini games, I would say. Even something like Battlefield, Call of Duty, Hell Let Loose, it would be amazing to be able to be like, hey,
I could at least... where you could stuff a grenade in the track of a stop tank and then run.
Oh yeah, it would be awesome. Like especially when it comes to like a lot of the other like ones, because admittedly speaking, in something like Battlefield 1 or something like Hell Let Loose, it would be kind of annoying because there's not a whole lot of defenses for it. But with Hell Let Loose, with how brutally realistic it is, like one rifle shot to the chest and you're just dead. Like
oh yeah.
Like I mean, so in that game I would give it the pass because you're supposed to be that brutal realism kind of aspect to it. But like especially in something like Battlefield 2042, it would be amazing to be able to just take a normal grenade, stuff it on the track or like in the track, and just have it blow up and like again, not even damage like the health of the vehicle, but just like immobilize that track
to where they have to get out, repair it, and all that.
Yeah,
shit.
Especially because the tanks in Battlefield 2042 all have like automatic turrets. If I get that close to you, I should be able to do something. And sure, if I'm out of grenades, it doesn't work. Like I get you, but like I should be able to do something to a tank. Even because I mean, you got to think, if everyone has infantry and no one has like the recoilless or anything like that, to where like I can't physically do damage to the tank, your killing capacity is at least lowered. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not to the point where you're just completely unstoppable, because we were playing a match in 2042 the other day with me and like my crew, and it kind of sucked because I don't know what we were doing the attack and defend. It wasn't just normal conquest. It was like one team has all the points and the other team has to like, you know, take over to win, right? Mm-hmm. I love those matches, by the way, but we had a point where they were coming over a hill and we were keeping them at range. So like almost no one at that time had a, you know, anti-tank weapon.
Right.
And we saw this tank flank off to the side and it just bulldozed like through like 50 fucking people. Like, I know there's not that many people in one side, but it's the idea that like it just wiped out most of our team because no one had that shit equipped. And now it's like we had nothing to do against it until people started respawning.
I had a shit my pants moment against a Sherman and Hell Let Loose.
Oh yeah.
I was aiming for his back and he started to turn and I popped him on the side.
Yeah.
And then the turret and the tank started to keep turning on me. And I was reloading I was the Germans and I was reloading my fucking Panzerfaust.
Yeah.
And he was turning, and the fucking the turret wasn't fully turned yet. It was in the process of turning, but the tank itself was turned. So the front facing armor was looking at me, and the driver was using his coax on me. And it was just like, because there's no crosshairs, the fucking rounds were suppressing me. It was just like rounds hitting the dirt and zipping around me and shit. And I'm like reloading my fucking, and then I quick look at it and fired, killed it. And I was like, that must have been low health as it was, because a side hit and a front hit is not enough to take out a tank.
Normally, yeah.
And I was just like, oh God, I got it. I popped it on the side and it started to turn because one track was out, and it turned on me, and the turret was also turning. And I'm just like, oh fuck, and I'm putting it in like just the fucking coax, like it was like pop, 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 and just like the snapping and the zipping in the rounds, hitting the dirt.
Down, yeah.
And I was just like, oh, and I quick fired, took it out. I was like, oh, And like I swear to God, the reason why that keeps me going back to the game, even though the mechanics of the aiming and shit on controller are really bad, it's it's like playing in a World War II movie.
Well, because it's definitely even when I find the point where you can respawn pretty quick, like pretty.
I know
close
we
to the
talk a
front
lot
line.
about Hell Let Loose, and I don't apologize for it. It's a good game. You should play it.
You should play it.
But it sucks that if you're on next gen, it's the only way you can play it, or if you're on PC.
Jesus.
If you're on PS4 and Xbox One, you're shit out of luck.
Sorry guys. But no, it definitely I just wish that there were some better things to do when it comes to tanks and in the games, because now, especially in like a lot of like modern shooters, even with Hell Let Loose, if you don't have like the specific class or the specific piece of equipment to deal with tanks, it's not even like it was like in Battlefield 1, because in Battlefield 1, at least, if there was like a whole bunch of us and a tank just decided to fucking roll up like he fucking, could just take it, we could at least grenade spam him to the point where he's like, hey, I'm going to have to get out of here. It probably wouldn't kill the tank, but, I remember having a lot of memories in Battlefield 1 where it was like, hey, yeah, like we at least got him out of there so we didn't lose the point. You know what I mean? Because we all just grenade spammed and we all started throwing grenades. And we got him out of there, at least so that way we could keep the point. Whereas like now is like the game I was talking about. It took one of our buddies to hit it with the fucking recoilless over and over because he had one, because he always takes it with him. And I had to load up that drone that I told you about, how we were putting C4 on the drones. I had to put every C4 I had on that drone, and we fucking suicide bombed it right into that fucking tank to get rid of it. I was like, God damn, like, I'm not gonna lie, if we didn't do it in that time, and not even like, oh, we were just the saviors, but like, Jesus, it's like, if we didn't do that, the entire team and that area would have just been completely wiped out, because there was absolutely nothing we were able to do to it.
Tanks seem to be OP in Battlefield right now.
Hey man, I'm gonna take a Waz. Hold on.
Yeah, you go PP. So there's some more news on this, and this is why this game sucks.
Okay.
So they based the GTA Remaster on mobile ports.
Why?
I don't know. They modeled after mobile ports.
So you're telling me that
they had all these issues where
according to our assumptions that we're seeing here, they're literally filing lawsuits against save files and getting rid of all mods to push a port that's meant for mobile.
Right.
Really?
So,
Fuck.
Apparently there was issues these issues were all identified during development and were gone unaddressed.
Oh, so there were people in the company who were like, hey, these are problems, and they were just told, yeah, fuck it, whatever.
Yep.
Jesus.
Then the DMCA strikes. They delisted the originals from Steam. So you can only play the remasters.
Well, I mean, that's happened before.
Yeah, but it's like their way of trying to turn a profit.
Oh, of course.
They didn't release gameplay prior to the launch, which I knew that. And no review codes. Literally, there was no review codes for this. It was just literally they rolled it out, and like people that no one saw what it was until it came out. So you had to buy the game to even see it.
Shit. Yeah, fuck that.
So let's talk about Ubisoft now that we've beaten that horse into the fucking ground.
Fucking tanks and goddamn shooters.
Ubisoft offers the pay raise to stanch losses as workers rally public support for change. It says one has to imagine that the suits of Ubisoft were secretly delighted that Blizzard's scandal this year took the public's attention away from its own plague of mismanagement, racism, and sexual harassment.
Jesus.
But you know what? Who hasn't forgotten? The employees, who are now attempting to apply pressure to the game studio by rallying public support for corporate change. Employee group A Better Ubisoft said that his studio has not reformed in the past year, nor met the group's 4 key demands. So now the group has launched a petition that allows fans to express public support for change. Ubisoft, on the other hand, announced that it was handing out pay raises to help stanch the ongoing loss of key talent that are fleeing to other studios and sectors. Lower-level employees are seeing a 5 to 7% increase in pay, while management is being pumped to 20%.
Again, I would like to see, because again, I could understand this isn't me like sticking up for Ubisoft, but again, if they were losing more management people, I could understand why they were like, hey, we're going to offer them the bigger, incentive. I could
Right.
get that.
Yeah.
But like you said too, that is still shitty though, because if you're a lower level employee, hey, here's on the good side a 7% increase, and sure, you might barely notice that, but then you have fucking Jim Bob over here who's like, hey, I'm making a fifth more than I was before, and that is substantial. Anyone who gets a 20% increase in their salary, whether it be hourly or not, that's at least palpable. You could definitely be like, hey, cool, you would at least appreciate that from your company if they gave you a 20% raise, regardless of
Right.
what was going on. And that's shitty, because now if you're a lower level employee, and let's be honest, lower level employees, whether it be in the military like our experience, or whether it be in the civilian sector, almost always get the shit end of the stick. You're doing more of the grounding and of the ground level and grinding work that nobody wants to fucking
Right.
do. And now you're getting the short end of the stick when it comes to the pay raises. Oh, what management over here, which, don't get me wrong, I understand some management positions are stupid stressful. I truthfully can understand that. Being in charge of a bunch of other idiots can be demanding.
Yes.
And especially if you're in a work environment that isn't working properly, in terms of like if you have a lot of discrimination, or if you have a lot of work ethic problems, or if you have a lot of issues of people not doing their job, sure, that can make things a lot fucking worse. But it's really shitty though, because now the people who would have more of an incentive because they're higher up in the company to be in anyway are getting more of the benefit.
Right.
And that's super shitty, especially if you're someone who's doing a lot of the backbreaking work for a company, and they're like, hey, fuck you, here's a few extra pennies.
Well, here's Ubisoft's reason. Ubisoft says that the unexpected raise is due to the market changing in Canada. But contemporary game developer, it's just saying we're increasing wages because in Canada, the market's changing, so we should raise people.
Again, that needs so much more specific. That needs to be specified so much more. Because again, if, like we said earlier, that scenario was the case and they're losing more managers, totally makes sense. You need those people.
The thing is, it's like if they could argue that it's due to the market changing, but the contemporary game developer has a different take. According to Kotaku, they're desperately trying to hold on to what few experienced devs are still there. Better Ubisoft responded to the raise by saying it did nothing to address the key demands of the group. So essentially, it's like,
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still kind of shitty anyway if your employees are like, hey, we want better working conditions, we want less discrimination, we want less issues, and you're just like, hey, here's a few extra bucks.
Right.
Admittedly, again, 20% raise, definitely substantial.
As a whole, that's not addressing the problem.
Oh, definitely.
It's like their way of saying, like, here's money, please stop. Like, stay. Like, we'll do anything to keep you to stay except the things that you want us to do.
Oh, yeah.
We'll pay 100%. You a little bit more.
But still doesn't make any sense to me, though, because, like, I mean, when it comes to a lot of other things, one, for the simple fact that to not be shitty people and also to avoid government intervention of the fact of being discriminatory, why would you not want to do that? Because, again, the idea is you probably wouldn't even have to be...
It might be different in Canada.
I have a really hard time to believe that Canada, who is probably the country that is the most like the United States in terms of makeup beliefs and culture, is like, yeah, we don't believe in equality.
Yeah, I know. I don't believe it either. It's just weird. I don't know. Like how they deal with corporations versus us is, I don't know.
But it's don't know. Even apart from all this stuff, I mean, if you just crack down on this stuff, and if your employees see that you're really trying, chances are more of them are going to be like, hey, listen, yeah, I'm not going to leave. You know what I mean? Because I see that you're fixing this.
Right.
So you wouldn't even have to pay them more to be, don't get me wrong. I think for a lot of companies like Ubisoft and a lot of things, they could totally afford to pay their employees a little bit more, and that's fair. However, it's just the idea, like, I couldn't imagine, like, hey, I'm willing to shell out more money to you cretins, but I refuse to deal with people who are sexually assaulting other coworkers.
Right.
Like, really?
Yes.
Like,
it's like, you're getting touched at work?
Too fucking bad.
Here,
like,
we're just going to pay you more so you don't leave.
Like, really? Like, is it that hard to address, or is it the fact that they had such bad reputation and they lost so many developers anyway, to where now the only developers who are left are the people who are touching other people? Like, I don't know, like, what's going on.
Show me on the doll where your manager touched you. So let's talk about Avengers real quick.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because I'm tired of talking about it, if I'm being completely honest. So, Avengers Square Enix blames Crystal Dynamics for the failure. So, Square Enix Marvel's Avengers has regularly been a punching bag over the past year due to its many issues. The disappointment of the game was so great that it killed the hype for Square Enix's next Marvel game, Guardians of the Galaxy, even though Guardians has now turned out to be a Game of the Year contender. What?
So you're telling me that they're mad because it's affected their other titles that are doing just fine.
Wait, that's what you got out of that? I got Guardians of the Galaxy as a Game of the Year contender?
I mean, I haven't played it, so...
Like, is it really that good?
I don't know.
I've heard it's good. I didn't think it was that good.
My issue, what I got out of it is that they're shifting all blame away from themselves, what it seems like to make them look good. And then they're saying, well, their failure is affecting our other games that apparently are doing just fine. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It shows, like, are you really, like, is this that bad? Is your PR that bad to where you need every bit of it, like, to be positive? I don't know.
I don't know. So blame for the failure of Marvel's Avengers has been thrown in every direction by fans. After all, that's what consumers tend to do when a piece of media flops.
I mean, generally speaking, yes. A lot of people like to shift
Yeah.
blame, but still.
No one, because they don't know what's going on in the back. That's what we're here for.
We know what's going on in the back.
That's why we're here. We're here to tell you what's going on in the background. What we don't normally see is the publisher throwing the developer under the bus. That's true. That's what Square Enix did and during the company's annual report. Square Enix president Yasuke Matsuda said that the failure of the game could be blamed on choosing the wrong studio. Now, it's the wrong studio. It has nothing to do with the shady practices of the fucking game itself or the fact that it was rushed and buggy. He said that the Avengers being the game's service title did not match the skills of Crystal Dynamics, an historically single-player focused developer. So you told them to make a fucking live service game.
Exactly. That's why I was like, so hold on a sec. You're telling me.
So they take no responsibility for this fucking model for this game?
Apparently not. So because what it's looking like here, and I think everyone who's following with us can see, it's just the issue is like, so not only, as we said before, not only are you blaming them for failing this game, okay, fine, let's say they did. But now you're shifting the blame and saying it's not us. They're affecting our other titles that apparently aren't suffering. So why are you putting that in anyway? And now you also highlight, in retrospect, after you've already hired this company to do this for you, hey, this was a bad fit, and we want to blame them for it because they typically make single-player games that are story-focused, and we told them to make a live service game. So whose fault is that really?
That's the publisher's fault.
Because especially, too, a lot of developers may take contracts to make games, and then afterwards, after they already have a certain concept out, because of since the fads come and go quite frequently now, suddenly, instead of crafting a single-player focused game, because obviously it was focused on fucking what's-her-face, who's in the front, who, like, blows up her fists.
Miss Marvel?
Yes. Again, I'm still just kind of really upset about the naming, but
that's a real character.
No, I understand, but what I'm saying is I'm still upset with Marvel for the fact that what they did to my boy Shazam.
What's wrong with Shazam?
His name is Captain Marvel, and Marvel tried to back in the day do copyright on his name, even though Captain Marvel Shazam is older than Marvel Comics. They tried to copyright the name because he belonged to DC.
Yes.
And it was like, hold on a second. You're telling me that you want to pull a copyright infringement on the name Marvel on this guy, this character, who's older than your company? By not even just a little, not even like a year or two. I mean, this dude's like...
I was going to say, Shazam is not even in the same fucking universe.
No, he's not. He's very much... Shazam's very old when it comes to comics. He's not like Superman old, because Superman was like the first.
He was 30s, yeah.
Yeah, but like exactly. Like if I remember right, Superman was like 1929. Because he was the first. He was the very first.
He was a villain at first. Villain? What the fuck? He was a villain at first.
Superman?
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember that, but I do know that
he is.
But I do know that he was the first, and he spawned the superhero genre.
Some things you didn't know about Superman. Superman originally started as a bald villain. Lex Luthor ended up becoming the name of that. Superman was Lex Luthor.
Huh. I did not know.
Yep.
You should look up.
Yeah, there he is. The Reign of the Superman.
Huh. Well, I'll be damned.
When was this? This was 1933. The Reign of the Superman is a bald-headed villain bent on world domination with the power of people's minds. Thank goodness the story wasn't popular and the character was reimagined in 1933 as a superhero instead.
Huh. I'll be damned.
Superman wasn't born with powers. The S on his chest doesn't only stand for Superman. We all fucking knew that.
Yeah.
Batman and Superman have a bromance. We all knew that.
Yes.
Damn, Christopher Reeve.
Do you know why kryptonite was a thing?
Everyone has seen green. Let's see. Why is green kryptonite? What is kryptonite?
If I remember correctly, because I didn't remember the dates correctly. However, it's because there was back in the days of the radio, the voice actor for Superman wanted time off, and so they used kryptonite as a reason. And vastly simplifying.
So because the voice actor wanted some time off, that said Superman is currently down for the count due to kryptonite.
Something of this sort, if I remember correctly.
Interesting.
Very fun, actually.
So Superman is based on the story of Jesus.
Is it really?
I fucking don't know. Superman has fought just about every character out there, including Muhammad Ali.
He did.
Batman, Hulk, Thor, Aliens, Muhammad Ali, Spider-Man, Predator, Terminator, and many others. Yet he has only been really defeated once against Doomsday, who ultimately kills him kills the Man of Steel. And yet, here we are in the movies. Doomsday was like this
formed out of like General Zod or some shit. It's bullshit.
Yeah, it was so dumb. Anyway, let's get back to talking about this shit.
Anyway, but yes. So getting off the topic of Shazam here, but yeah, no, you could definitely tell that they were going into more of a single player focus with Miss Marvel because it was focused on her in the beginning, and then like they could have easily, and I don't know for sure because like obviously I wasn't there to write the papers or sign contracts or shit for jobs. But they could have easily been like, "Hey, yeah, no, cool, make this game for us, make an Avengers game." And they were like, "Fuck yeah, let's do it." And then they changed it.
Miss Marvel's coming into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
In the Secret Invasion.
I don't know.
She's dressed like Captain Marvel.
Huh. Maybe they're trying to erase the memory of.
No, Captain Marvel's here to stay. They're just.
No, I don't want her there though. No one wants her there.
No one does. Honestly, the Captain Marvel in the What If series is the Captain Marvel we deserved, in my opinion.
Well, again, it sucks because anyway, we'll talk about in game some other time. Shit. Point is that I'm only worried about it because Marvel's kind of been putting out some other things. Like I saw Immortals the other weekend. Not super impressed.
I saw Shang-Chi.
It was an entertaining movie, and I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying some of the writing was bullshit. Also, by the way, Angelina Jolie looks like a fucking gas station crackhead in that movie, and she's
not aging well.
No, she's not. She's aging about as well as a fucking crumpled up water bottle that's on heroin. It's bad. It's really fucking bad. She looked awful, and some people were like, "Oh, she looks fake or contoured because the role." I was like, "No, I'm not even talking about like, oh, she's not skinny enough, or oh, her boob job looked bad." I mean, like even just looking at her face, because she's in like costume for most of it, which is fair. I get it. You're a superhero movie, get it?
Yeah.
But I'm like, seriously, her face looks so fucked up. She really does look like she's on fucking drugs. Like that's not even like, oh, haha, I'm poking fun at it anymore. She looked bad that entire.
You know who had a major glow up for that?
Who?
Camille. The guy, the Indian guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what he used to look like?
No, I don't.
Oh my god! Let me show you this.
But like some of the writing in that was pretty bad. You know what I mean? I'm not going to give any spoilers because it is just now coming out, but it's just the idea.
Let me show you. And here's the thing. So Kumail Nanjiani, that's his name. No one knew that he was doing this, right? He just ended up showing up one day on Twitter with this fucking transformation. Everyone's like, what the fuck? Like, he's always been this really small, skinny, like, you know, Pakistani. He's Pakistani, right? I want to get that right first.
I have no clue.
So he's always been this, like, really skinny, nerdy little guy, right?
Yeah. And you're right, that is quite a glow up.
Dude, hang on, I'm trying to find other photos of him. Here, look at that.
I mean, that's definitely one. Shit.
Dude, it like when he showed photos, everyone's like, "Whoa, what the fuck?"
What the fuck?
And he's a comedian.
Really? I didn't know he was a comedian.
He's always done like goofy comedy movies, and he's been a stand-up comedian. And like, I didn't even know he was in a role for a Marvel movie until he posted this photo on Twitter.
Well, good for him. I mean, that's awesome.
I know, everyone's like, "Bro, fuck yeah!" Like, seeing him, that just goes to show you being in them, like being a fucking in the, like, you're the best personal trainers when you cast into a Marvel movie.
Well, also too, I mean, it also shows for a lot of people, and I'm not like the skinniest person, like I'm like the best in shape, like no, but like fuck, dude, like there's a lot of people out there who let themselves go, and they're like, oh well, I can't.
You're looking at one.
They're like, oh well, I can't get in shape. It's like, no, man, yes you can.
Man, look at this guy. Look at what he was. Look at what he is now.
Very big difference.
Huge fucking difference. He's jacked as fuck now.
But he's also not overly jacked. Sure, he's pretty shredded.
No, he's got like some damn good, but he's got some really impressive muscle mass on him. I mean, like, look at the comparison.
Yeah, but it's also not like unnaturally like
I was right. He is Indian.
Like over massive or anything.
He is Hindu. So like, it's even still like
Hindu's a religion, bud.
Or he's Indian, whatever.
That's fine. You're like, yeah, he's like, Hindu. I was like, I mean, maybe
have you ever
Hindu.
seen the movie Stuber?
No.
Where he's an Uber driver for fucking Dave Bautista.
Mm-mm.
And his name is Stu. It's pretty funny, but like that was the last time I saw him. I saw him in that movie, and he looks like this. He looks like this, and then not even a few months later, he tweets out this fucking thing, and I'm like, whoa, that's not the same guy. At first, I thought it was Photoshop.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I actually looked, and I'm like, oh, he's in a Marvel movie? That explains it.
That explains it.
Like, they give you the best personal trainers to put you on a really fucking strict diet. They pump you full of steroids. But yeah, man, his fucking physical glow up is fantastic, and it's, you know,
it looks pretty natural though too, because he doesn't look like he's
right.
so overpacked with muscle mass.
I mean, but you can also tell like he's never done it before, to the point where it's like this is new muscle mass that he's never had.
I mean, true, but
whereas you look at Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth has been a fucking beefcake as long. Let's see. Let's look at Chris Hemsworth. Let's see him. Let's see him for Hulk Hogan. Have you seen the photos of this motherfucker? All right, this is Chris Hemsworth, like getting ready for his role to portray Hulk Hogan, right? Oh, that's a really small photo. That's also a really small photo. Here, how about this? How about this Thor 4? There's a better photo of this than that. What the fuck is that? I remember seeing that, and I'm like, no fucking way that dude got that fucking big. And he did. He really did. He's jacked as fuck. Now, I will say this, and I'm not saying that I've got some fucking thunder thighs, but his legs are looking like they're being neglected.
Oh, do they?
Oh, yes. He's suffering of the fucking superhero movie fucking thing, where it's like they literally only focus on your upper body and everything else just kind of goes to the wayside a little bit.
I mean, you can even kind of see it there.
Yeah. I mean, like his upper body is
go down to the one that's like down there. Yeah.
You can see that his upper body is not proportioned with his thighs. His thighs are just normal. His calves are nice, but I mean, calves are whatever. Calves, you can't really do anything about that. You can only get them so big. It's a genetic thing.
Yeah, a lot of people's calves. I feel really bad. I used to work out with a guy in high school whose name was Slade. Dude's awesome, right? Very, very nice guy, very intelligent. Dude had a massive upper body. And sure, he probably weighed about 180 pounds. Like, he wasn't like overly massive, but he was superbly muscled, like no body fat. My poor man, I'm telling you, had small ass fucking legs and calves. And he's even sitting there like, we would regularly see him squatting, calf raises, running, sled drills, to actually work out the legs. And it just was not getting bigger. I felt so bad for him.
What the fuck is Taylor Swift doing here?
Okay.
No, that's the same thing with my best friend Thomas. So he is jacked, right?
Yeah.
Jacked upper body. And I've seen him regularly squat 405 and shed. Like, he's got really strong legs, very defined thighs. Like,
But just doesn't have the size
but
to them.
they just don't grow. And his calves are literally like this. He's got these tiny calves. And everyone's like, you skip leg day. I'm like, he definitely doesn't.
Luckily, in my experience, ever since my injuries, at least with my knees, my hamstrings over and over, as soon as I started squatting again, my legs started fucking exploding. They started getting fucking huge again.
My legs, I can say that when I work on my calves, I have nice calves.
No, I do have nice calves. I was blessed with good calf genetics.
I know, so was
but,
I. The only thing is like with my back arthritis and shit, doing legs, like doing squats and shit. I'm actually, I don't even squat anymore.
Dude, I would try goblet squats.
You talking about with like the kettlebell in your?
I mean, you can use a dumbbell or kettlebell, do it really light.
Right.
But the reason why I say that is because it can help you get your whole like range of mobility back, and that can help with a lot of your other symptoms. I know that arthritis isn't never going to just go away.
No, it's not.
But I'm just saying, if you want to like actually start doing something with it, get like 20 pounds.
I told Alicia tomorrow we're going to the gym and get ready to get fucking killed. Like we're gonna fucking crush it.
My only thing, don't get me wrong, if you want to work hard and you got the capacity, I'm not telling you not to work hard. I'm just telling you I found a lot of success because like while it may not look like I am like the most physical specimen, I'm in pretty good shape, and I do really well. I granted I've been lifting for many years now, so it's not like I'm brand new. So a lot of that is muscle memory that I've developed over my life.
Yeah.
But I had a lot more success, especially because when I was in Rhode Island, I got pretty out of shape. I got hurt. I had knee injuries before. I had the hamstring injury. COVID fucking happened. And I was having issues getting back in shape because I was trying to blitz myself day 1, day 2, day 3, and then you start to fall off because you have to take more time off. I'm telling you, if you want to legitimately make the first couple of workouts, the first couple of weeks, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, work hard. Like, I'm not telling you not to like do anything.
Don't go heavy and shit.
But like, don't go stupid heavy.
That wasn't the intention.
Don't blitz yourself into oblivion. Don't get me wrong, work hard, but make sure that you keep telling yourself that this is good for you, so that way you keep reinforcing the whole you want to go to the gym, and then you eventually become a crackhead like myself, who's like, I'm depressed today. Why? Because I haven't gone back.
Reforming the habit is the hardest. Like for me, like
a lot of it is about just doing good habits. A lot of it, like I personally like the weekends are a little bit harder because my last week was a little more hectic, which is why I went today to the gym. But every day after work, as soon as work is over, the next thing that I do, it's almost part of my work day. I go work out because if I don't do it too. While I'm like out and I come back home, I won't do it. So it's like, and also too, I notice too many personal benefits. Like my mental health is better because I go work out. Right. My sleep is regulated because now that you went out and busted your ass, you're tired enough by the time, for me, considering I have to work on Navy time, I go in super early in the morning, so by the time 8-9 o'clock rolls around, I'm fucking ready to sleep because I beat my ass.
That's the hardest part for me, is because like,
and I know work's kind of out of your control.
My schedule getting off at 10 o'clock at night, and the whole other thing about streams and content creation that I do on top of it is right afterwards at 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
and I try to commit time when I come home with Alicia.
Yeah, definitely. And no,
it ends up going a little bit longer than than I'd like to. But like other than that, like
what I do, bud, is I would just like make sure that like work around your work schedule because you have to, house, food, things you need.
Right.
But like, honestly, with some of the content creation, like I understand like some of the stuff does take time and it's a passion of yours. Fuck, it's why I'm here. Thank you. Right. But it's the idea too, though. Like even if it's like twice a week. Like, I know that is not an optimal goal that you probably want.
I'm trying to refine a schedule to where it's like the biggest issue is that I'll tend to stay up way later than I want to.
And
then I sleep.
That's something you got to work on.
Right. And then I end up sleeping until fucking like 11 o'clock when I want to get up at like 9:30 every day so I can do things in the morning, go to the gym, go to work, get off, do a few hours on here, go to bed, and rinse and repeat.
I'm telling you, what you got to do personally is focus on the good things that come from when you break from your quote what natural cycle is. So like kind of your natural cycle is things that you do like without any interference, without any input from anything else. What do? You go to work, you'll come home, spend some time with your woman, eat, drink, and sleep, right? Well, you got to make sure that sometimes, like when you break off of that, hey, I'm going to go to bed a little bit earlier instead of staying up super late by playing video games, which is fine to do occasionally, but like your habit should be, hey, I'm going to play video games. After you spend some time with Alicia, that's fine. And then you come back, do some games, relax, because you do need some time to decompress. And then try to go to bed earlier. And then when
that's
you get
what my days off are for.
Then when you get up early and you have time to do other things, work on some of your content, go to the gym. And when you feel better from those things, you have to focus on that and keep giving yourself that reinforcement for another couple of days. So it's a couple of days worth of effort, but then eventually it turns into what I'm at right now. I go to the gym every day after work. There is no effort. It's just what I do. And when you don't do it, you feel bad because it's not part of your schedule anymore. And you feel and you focus on those good benefits.
It was easier for me when I got off work at 2:00 every day. Because that's what I used to do. I used
part
to
of
work
that too is, work hard on it. But part of that too is like, dude, this may be something else that you need to get rid of this fucking shithole job that you got and to get into something else.
I'm trying.
Because as the court stenographer would read, you're complacent.
Yeah. Anyways, yes. It's like I'm just trying to figure out where to start.
But yeah, man, definitely really try to focus on getting a better job. Because as soon as your work schedule is streamlined and you work from this time to this time every day or, whatever your schedule is, then it's a lot easier to work around because it's like myself. I know that I'm probably going to get off anywhere from 3 to 5 o'clock, depending on if I'm on late stay or not. And one day out of the week that I guarantee myself a rest day is when I usually have late stay because it happens, So cool. When I'm on late stay, I take that time to clean and to do other shit. So now when I have late stay, it doesn't break up my schedule too bad. And I feel normal about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you really got to get your work schedule figured out to be better.
That's the fucking hardest part because it's so ever changing. And I'm like, and then there's the everyday of, hey, can you come in earlier?
Just tell them no.
I do tell them no. I really do. Like I've told them yes a couple of times only because it's like, fuck, it's a little bit of overtime.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like, dude, you want me to come in? It's already coming. I already have to leave for work at 1 p.m. every day, which means I got to be at the gym by at the latest 12 o'clock, which means I got to get up. If I want to even have any kind of morning, I got to get up at like 9. And then I got to go, get ready for the gym, shower and everything because I shower before the gym because people.
What time do you get off work?
10 p.m. And it takes me like 30 minutes to get home. So I get home at like 10:35 every night. So what I'll do is I'll get home, fucking decompress with Alicia while she goes to bed, come down here, set up, start stream. That could go anywhere between 2 o'clock in the morning to 3, depending.
And it also sucks too because sometimes the streams earn you money, don't they?
They do earn me money.
So it's really hard for me to be like, why don't you just do it late some other time?
And it sucks because I'm like, I could do it earlier, but it doesn't bring in the viewership that it does at night.
No, definitely.
And that's what sucks. It's just like I don't want to keep streaming at 11 o'clock at night every night. But that's where my viewership is lying right now. I've tried earlier streams on my days off.
Yeah. No one's
there.
Dead as fuck.
Dead as fuck. No one's there. Everyone's there at like 11 o'clock because everyone's like, the end of their night. Like they're staying up late because they can't sleep and shit. And they're just hanging out on my stream because they can't sleep and they enjoy my streams. But during the day when they're working or when they're doing other stuff, it's like no one's there. And it's the same on weekends when people are doing other things. When I'm like, I'm not doing anything right now. Everything around the house is done. Let's fire it up and get it going. Nope. Like that Terminator stream I did, there was like nobody there.
Sad.
I know. So like my viewership is fucking literally based late at night. So it's like
I'll eventually hop on and try to talk shit in one of your streams.
You should.
But I'll have to subtly disclose it to you under an anonymous account.
Oh.
See how long it takes for you to catch on.
You should make it to where it's like the answer is in the name, but I can't. But it's like subtle, and I have to figure it out. I figured out which one my mom's was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was secretly in my shit all the time, and I didn't know it.
How is that good or bad?
That's fine. Now that I know it's her, she can't hide. But like, that's cool. Everyone loves mom. All right, let's talk about this Battlefield shit before we wrap up. I know we're gonna talk about the YouTube dislike button, but honestly, like that's just kind of a, you know.
We also kind of already talked about that
did.
a little bit more in depth than we did other things.
Yes. So let's talk about the 2042 early access is missing scoreboard and other key features. You've played it. I have not.
I did. So
let's see. The regular Battlefield 2042 release date may still be a week away, which I find stupid.
Why?
No, because the game is out now. That is the release date. The 12th is the fucking release date, not the 16th. Not any day after that.
I definitely agree with you.
Not the 13th. The fact that you have to spend $90 to fucking play the game a week early is the dumbest shit ever. Because all the people that did that have an advantage now over you. And it sucks for me as a content creator because it's like, I don't want to spend $90. I hate pre-ordering. I hate it because I don't agree with it.
I did it this time because all my friends, like all the guys they all pre-ordered it. And I was like, that's fine. And don't get me wrong, a couple of them are really hardcore Battlefield fans, so I wasn't going to like talk them out of it. But overall, it's a lot smoother. And I know some people are like, oh, it's smoother than the beta. Fucking Eldridge. He's like, no shit. I mean, he wasn't like that big of a dick about it. But overall, yeah, it is a lot smoother. But
Eldridge he conforms to the idea that betas are betas, and not what they really are. They're fucking
jokes on him. He's a beta.
Huh.
Anyway, bad jokes aside, overall it is a lot smoother. But like, there are some things that are kind of odd about it. I mean, I still had some issues of like allies' names popping up, and so now if there's no name pop up, I'm like unloading on someone who's not dying.
Right.
The enemies, I didn't notice too many issues of enemies. So in the game's defense, like the enemy names do pop up in time for you to usually see and be like, do something about it. But when it comes to the allies, it still is kind of ambiguous sometimes.
What about the smoke? Do the names disappear still?
Yes.
See? And then everyone looks alike. So it's like, you're back again. Here we are. Like, I can't tell who the fucking friend from foe anymore. So it says, however, some of these players have also pointed out key features from the past Battlefields are missing. Reddit user Ultralife compiled their list of their own thread. While some points are certainly subjective, there are a few strange omissions to be sure. For one, the game has no scoreboard, meaning you can't see which player is leading the pack in terms of KD. Furthermore, there's no scoring system. So any objectives...
they do keep track of it at the end of matches.
But there's no way to check your progress in match.
I mean, you shouldn't be checking your progress. You should be fighting a war.
Listen, dude. Everyone checks their fucking progress. I don't care who you are. So it says, any objectives you complete, kills you earn, or other heroic actions you pull off aren't met with much fanfare, at least in terms of what the UI indicates. You won't see the info personal stats page either. Battlefield 2042 is lacking that as well. Furthermore, down the thread, the user PM me your PM points out the lack of voice chat. We knew this ahead of time, as developer DICE stated that it believes people rely on services like Discord. That's fucked up. That's fucked up right there. They believe that players rely on services like Discord more than built-in voice chat systems. Luckily, DICE does plan to bring voice chat back to Battlefield 2042 in a future update. The fact of the matter that they are relying on the console players, which I can tell you right now, a lot of
pretty
people
unreliable.
It's a lot of players that I know that play on console don't fucking use Discord. And it's not as easy to do on console as it is on PC.
No, it's definitely not, because a lot of times it's like when we were playing, I didn't like to use the Discord because then that meant that I had to use a different headset
exactly
with my phone.
Same with me. I have to put my fucking earbuds in one ear. I can't hear the game in that.
And now I have to have my fucking headset and an earbud right here.
Right.
It's bullshit.
Granted that PlayStation is working a deal with Discord, so they're going to add Discord to it. Cool.
Which,
it's all fun and that's all cool.
And you could probably, once that deal's already done, and if, let's say, it works really smoothly, you could probably get away with that if you were making a PlayStation exclusive game.
Right.
I'd be like, that's
but
fine.
No, you have crossplay.
Because you're wanting to really push this. That's fine. But for a game that we knew was going to be crossplay from the fucking beginning,
And to not have voice chat.
and to not have voice chat or anything like that is bullshit.
That's like a very key feature in any game, especially a multiplayer game with crossplay. And you don't want to have that, and you want to rely on third-party fucking shit like Discord. Like, got it. Yeah, Discord. Everyone uses fucking Discord. That's fine. Like, I use Discord. You use Discord. Brandon uses Discord. A lot of guys use Discord.
Yeah.
There's also a large chunk of people that don't.
Well, you got to think, though, I only use Discord because y'all fucking use it. Shit.
Right.
I don't use that in my everyday life.
I didn't, up until like a year ago, not even, I didn't use Discord. And it's like, I realized.
I barely know how to navigate the fucking app.
If I told Tony has been like waiting for this game. If I told him like there's no voice chat, you have to get Discord to talk to anybody. He'll be like, fuck this game. I'm not getting it.
Yeah. 100%.
That's a lot of people. It's like, I can't talk to my teammates unless I'm on fucking party chat or Discord.
Yeah.
Why? And it's like you really took out a key feature of your game because you wanted to rely on a third party program.
With a deal that's not even done yet.
Right.
Granted, we're pretty sure it's going to happen.
Well, even still, what about Xbox players?
Fuck them, I guess.
Exactly. So hopefully the rest of these omissions are redeemed in the near future, though it may not be realistic to expect by the time the game launches for everyone else. Battlefield 2042 comes to PC, PS5, blah, 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 blah. Let's go look at all the threads of all the missing stuff. Because there's a lot. All right. So starting off, there's no scoreboard. No. What am I looking at? What is popping up?
Corn porn.
This is Reddit. What the fuck? What is Reddit trying to show me right now?
I already told you.
Corn porn? No.
Maybe.
All right. So it says no scoreboard. There's no scoreboard means you can't tell who's hacking, tell if teams are balanced, see how many bots there are in your lobby. You can't see everyone's ranks, levels, can't see everyone's stats, comparing yourself, squad to everyone else. Can't see latency of everyone's match, which is important. Ping. You can't see overall score, and you can't see how many different classes are being played. The players have everything to lose when there's no scoreboard, yet EA and DICE have everything to gain. If you care about your community and respect this as a dedicated fan series, you will bring back at least this one feature. No scoring system. We've had a scoring system in Battlefield for many years now. Such system does not exist in 2042. Shooting an enemy player does not rack up any score points. Throwing ammo meds, that was the thing I noticed in the beta, and Brandon was trying to say, they could always add it later. They're gonna add it later.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Eldridge was pretty on board with this game before
he was on. Yeah, I know So it's just like, wait, that's
well, you gotta think though too, because like, so it gives you a ranking at the end of every fucking match, right? And it does still do that. It says you're 10th out of the 34 people who are on your team, right? My issue then is, why would I do anything but run and gun? Because getting flag points doesn't do shit for me now. Giving out medicine or medical supplies, healing people, reviving people, supplying people, armoring people, or spotting people do nothing for you now. There's no point but to have the most, like, eventually what's going to end up happening, because people are getting competitive, which is totally normal.
There's not even headshot bonuses anymore.
No.
Call of Duty has that.
So it's killing me, because at this point now, you might as well whip out an LMG and get an LG with a bipod and try to kill as many people as fucking possible. Because if you want to be any kind of competitive in terms of a, ranking, which I understand, it's totally normal that you would want to be competitive. It's a fucking video game. Why not? Now, as long as you have the physically most destructive capability as possible, there's no point in playing a sniper.
There's no incentive for playing objective.
There's no incentive of playing any kind of support, whether that be medic or support now. There's zero-ish reason why you should do any of that shit, because now on Battlefield 1, I got first place many times with like 10 or 13 kills because I was doing so much other shit, or I got assists, or I got
that was like every Battlefield game. Now it's like whoever is the top kill leader.
Essentially, yeah.
And there's like playing objective doesn't do anything for you. And it's like, why would you get rid of that?
Which is insane, because that used to be a huge reason why people were at the top of the scoreboard, because they played the objective all the time.
That's all they did. Supply, resupply, heal people.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no incentive for me to do that. Why the fuck do I care?
Yeah.
Like
zero.
It's literally every man for himself at that point.
Yep.
So no stats page. So we have no scoreboard, no scoring system, and also no stats page. We cannot even see our own progression and stats in game. Remember the battle log days when we could see so many detailed stats and also compare to other users? Well, we hit rock bottom. This is why I'm like, I don't like this game, because there's so much missing from it that made it like, this is literally all you're doing is playing a flashy Call of Duty at this point.
Yeah.
No server browser. When you thought you couldn't get any even worse, it just did. Battlefield 2042 has no server browser. You matchmake like you do in Call of Duty. We cannot manually select search for games. We have to just matchmake system that does the search for us. This is taking power away from the players for no good reason. This opens the door for SBMM and EOMM becoming a thing, which is a major red flag. It gets worse. Players do not carry over to the next match. Lobby disbands. Out of all the things that EA DICE could take from Modern Warfare, they took the worst things ever introduced, which is lobby disbandment. When a match is over, everyone is thrown back to the main menu. You get no chance to rematch the players you just played with. The older COD and Battlefield games kept same players in the next map, meaning you could play with the same players match after match. You cannot do that anymore, as the system now forces everyone to disband immediately after post-match screen. Needless to say, this kills what little sense of community this game has had left. Well done. No real class system. People confuse this issue with a specialist system when there are two separate issues. You can have specialists while also having a class system. The issue with 2042 is every specialist can use every weapon, every grenade, gadget, and every tool, with the only difference being the skin of your specialist and the special gadget ability. Having no class system means it would be much harder to balance out your weapons, because now every single AR has to compete with every SMG, which has to compete with every LMG, which has to compete with every sniper shotgun, and so on. The lack of class system means that a stricter meta will form compared to previous Battlefield games, where you still had more diversity of weapon and gadget use because you had sacrificing of something if you wanted something else. For example, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. If you are running an AR, you can't use an RPG. If you wanted one, you had to sacrifice the other. It's called balance, because you're balancing out who gets what. All a class system is packaging of things you get. DICE could have easily made specialists as part of the class package, so certainly specialists within the certain class can only use certain weapons and gadgets utility. This would have been the correct way to go for 2042 in all fair compromise.
Yeah, they did that in literally every single other game.
Every game has done
this.
A lot of these things that he's labeling are fucking
basic
Bad
shit
Company 2 things.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I remember when they were talking about the development of this game, someone said that this game will divide the Battlefield community. Some will love it, some will absolutely hate it, because it's going to be very different from what they've ever done.
How about this? I didn't mind some of the game modes, again, Hazard Zone, a blast, because it reminds me of Hunt Showdown. Fantastic.
Game modes is one thing,
but my issue is not that it's not fun, is not that it's a horrible game that you just shouldn't buy. No, but the issue is that these are just bad business practices that take minimal fucking effort to fix, and they're just like, nah, fuck it, we're not giving you a scoreboard, we're too lazy to put in fucking voice chat.
It's these, and I don't understand where the logic is behind them doing this stuff, because it's like
part of it too is that, one, I think part of it is they're trying to see what they can get away with. Honest to God, it's some simple things.
A lot of companies do that.
Simple things as something like scoreboard, right? Oh, well, there's a lot of cheaters in Battlefield. Are there? You have no proof. Look at that shit. Like,
you can't see it.
You can't tell. You can't tell. You don't know anymore. So unless you get video evidence of someone riding a fucking unicorn instead of a jet, you can't fucking tell that person hacking. You can't tell what's going on. Ha ha. There you go. Now Battlefield suddenly has less of a cheating problem. You know what I mean? That they didn't have to put any work into doing.
Right.
Or, not to mention too, voice chat. Part of that may be trying to see, if people will accept the Discord thing. You know what I mean? That may not be purely malicious. That may just be a slight bit of ignorance.
Right.
But it's just the idea. It's the lazy way out of this. The fuck do you mean they have to patch in voice chat? We've had that shit since how far back?
Since voice chat was ever a thing.
Like, seriously. Like, it's insane to me that these are issues. Sure, some of those, when it comes to like other things, when it comes to like the issues of the silhouettes, how you like different silhouettes.
Well, that's actually the next one right here.
Okay.
So, no factions, no friendly enemy distinctions. It's clear EA DICE were taking many cues from COD when designing 2042. But out of all the bad things they could have taken from the series, they actually left out one of its good ones, which were faction-specific characters. In Modern Warfare and Cold War, there were two factions, and each faction has their own set of unique characters, which is true. They do. The individual characters don't have any special abilities or anything. They're only cosmetic, but if they were split between the two opposing sides, if DICE wanted to go to the specialist route with 2042, they either should have designed 2 specialists on both sides, which we have talked about,
Yep.
and have the same gadget, or they should have designed 1 specialist with 2 different outfits and for each opposing side. Which we have right now is this. Not only does this break level of immersion, but it also makes it very difficult to distinguish enemies from friendlies in crowded spots. Removal of movement mechanics and animations. Here's a brief list of all the movement mechanics and unique animations that were completely removed from 2042. Leaning, backwards prone, which is I never like that. Backwards crawling.
I thought it was kind of cool for some scenarios when it comes to some things. It's use. How about this? It's something they could have put in the game that even if you weren't going to use it, but if it came up and you were able to do it, you would have appreciated. But you wouldn't have been mad if it was in the game and you never used it.
Right.
Like, I don't like it because it's still limiting gameplay, even if it's very minutely. But still, go ahead.
So backwards crawling, crouch sprint, jump high vaulting, mid-air ledge grabs, diving to the right or left, vaulting out of windows, high areas, and rolling, stumbling collision animations against walls and debris, melee takedown animations from different stances, which now it's all like third person, and like the animations are no longer different from the different stances like how they used to be.
Yeah.
Knockbacks from explosions, which was a Battlefield 5 thing, I think. Revive bleed out animations, throwing back and shooting grenades, and much more. Sure, Battlefield 2042 introduced things like tactical sprint and ADS reloading, yet we lost so much more than gained. This is a classic example of 1 step forward, 10 steps back. Many of these movement mechanics were introduced in Battlefield 5, but not at all. This was a lie. Overall movement. The general feel of movement in 2042 leaves a lot to be desired. It feels much more basic and is not refined as the older Battlefield titles. They're trying to copy some of the mechanics from Modern Warfare, but the issue is that Modern Warfare actually has a good feeling movement system. 2042 doesn't even match up to Modern Warfare, let alone previous Battlefield titles. Basic things like sprinting animations, tactical sprint animations, sliding, diving, standing back up after proning, these animations all don't flow as good as other Battlefield titles and feel much more clunky in comparison. Sadly to say, it's very rough around the edges. Weapon animations. I'm glad DICE finally trying to redo the animations of their weapons in Battlefield 2042, but again, we have issues. We're trying to copy Modern Warfare. This is why I said this feels like a flashy COD.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comparisons here, but still did not meet the high standards set by Modern Warfare's weapon shooting reloading animations. The hipfire animations in 2042 look good with a high visual kick, yet the moment you aim down sights, your gun barely has any visual kick to it, which all looks extremely jarring. The ADS firing animations are also very stiff looking, and the sprint animations for weapons are also very stiff and not smooth. Some of these are subjective. No squad spawn screen.
I would So you can definitely still spawn on squad members, but again, some of the issue is just that it can kind of get lost in all the other jumble shit.
I'm sure it can.
But also too, I would say that I do disagree when it comes to the whole like hip firing versus ADS firing. For someone who shoots guns like as a hobby, like no shit. If I fire a shotgun from here, there's gonna be a lot more kick than if I put it into your shoulder.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I said,
I disagree with that.
With the weapon animations, that's all subjective.
However, I will say I do agree playing it myself. I do agree that this while sprinting, it's not bad and it's not awful, and it is kind of just a niggle. It's not a big deal. But when you're running with your fucking weapon, sometimes it is a little fucking like robotic looking on the animation, because it is just like it's pretty stiff.
Yeah.
Again, not the worst of problems, but it is definitely notable.
So no squad spawn screen. This has existed in so many Battlefield games, but now you can't even see what your teammate is doing when you're about to spawn on them. Why was this feature removed? Sounds. Now I will say this, I noticed this in the beta. Well, what can I say? I've never imagined playing a Battlefield game where it's so quiet. There's lesser ambience and background noise. You cannot hear as much explosions or gunfire at a distance. The general chaotic nature of the game experience feels stripped down. Also, footstep sounds and directional audio, it needs work. That is true. A lot of times there'll be a dude that's not even close to you, and it sounds like he's right fucking next to you. This is an issue that they had in Warzone. And then it's like the audio tracking is completely broken in this game, from what I've noticed. Decreased weapon variety. Now, one could argue all the weapons are in Portal, but in 2042, there's 22 of them. So it's a brilliant marketing plan. Want to create a live service game, just release a base game with lesser content like weapons. And then just use the live service model to complete the game later. 2 LMGs. There's only 2 LMGs. There's only 4 ARs. 4 or 5 ARs.
Well,
3 pistols.
Well, really? That's it?
3 pistols.
So it's the same thing that they've been doing since fucking Battlefield 1. Like Battlefield 1, do you know how many fucking weapons there were in Battlefield 1? I don't know either. But what I do know is that there was a fuck ton. And then at the very end...
So the thing with Battlefield 1, there was a lot of the same weapon but different variants of it.
Well, I mean,
to be
sure,
fair,
what I'm talking about is not like, like the Model A fucking, whatever. You know what I mean? What I'm talking about is they had a lot of different fucking guns.
You know how many weapons Battlefield 4 had at launch? 84.
Really?
84. And now we're at a quarter of that almost.
And I liked it too in Battlefield 1 because there was a lot of different weapons that you could have used for each class though. Like, because as a medic, I'm not using a shotgun, right? Cool, no problem. But then you go into Battlefield 5 and there was like 5 or 6 guns you could use as a medic. But you could only use the first one for fucking ever in Battlefield 5 because it was a shitstorm, right? Fine. And then you get into Battlefield 2042 now, where now here we are, and there's like 3 shotguns, 3 pistols,
4 or 5 ARs, 2 LMGs, 2 or 3 sniper rifles.
There's 3 sniper rifles, and I don't even know how many SMGs, right? That's not a lot, but now also too, like you said, the reason why it's just getting dumbed down more and more because now what's happening is every class can use these weapons. Whereas before, if you looked off in the distance and you marked a medic, right? Cool. You know that medic, once you get up close, is going to have a harder time dealing with you because Battlefield 1 anyway, the medics were a little bit more geared for longer range engagements, medium range engagements, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. But if you run up on that assault guy and you turn that corner, he's going to blow your face off with a shotgun. You're going to, be backed up, or he's going to have an SMG, point being. Like, there were things that you could do, map out and plan for, but you could also help maximize some of your builds. But now, it doesn't matter what you want. Do you want the wingsuit? Do you want a turret? Do you want to heal people up to full when you pick them up? Do you want a supply crate? Or do you want a fucking shield that deflects tank rounds?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's it, because now anyone can play a medic, anyone can play supply, anyone can play assault, which isn't like a bad thing. Like, I'm not mad about it, but the stuff that they took out, they put nothing in to help fill.
Right.
Like, that's the issue.
They took away and didn't add anything else. So lesser destruction. I noticed this in the beta, and I was concerned by the fact that they weren't showcasing any of this.
Mm-hmm.
And they went with this whole, this is going to be the most destructible fucking battlefield they've ever created, and that is actually not true. It says that we have bigger maps, more vehicles, improved visuals, but we are taking steps back to things that actually have big impact, like destruction.
Yeah.
So they were saying that everything they were saying this like early in the days of the development, that everything in the map can be destroyed, which is not true.
True.
So it's like, oh, so that wasn't a thing.
Well,
cannot take health and ammo. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, well, I mean, I don't even think even if they did that, I think that would be awful.
What if they didn't add it?
No, if they made everything destructible, like absolutely everything.
That would have been awesome.
That'd have been horrible.
Why?
Because a lot of maps, like verticality, how about this, sniping would have become obsolete. People would just flatten the map.
Well, then you have one. Well, that was exactly. I mean, obviously there's certain buildings that would clearly take longer to flatten than others, but like in Siege of Shanghai, the skyscraper in the middle, you could take that. People who camp the top of that snipe all the fucking time, but you could take it down. It took a lot to take it down, but you could take it down. And in this, you can't. So
True.
It's like all the smaller buildings are the ones that are destructible. It's like you made it seem like we could level a fucking city if we wanted to, but now we can't. Which was Battlefield has always been known for the one thing that separates them from COD, destruction.
I mean, true.
So cannot take health ammo from players carrying health ammo crates. DICE added a great feature where you can walk up to a medic or support and get meds and ammo from them by interacting, but the feature has been left out because now you can give it to yourself. So it's all individual. You can't supply your teammates.
Wait, what?
That's what it says.
The medical crates that we use won't heal teammates?
I don't know. That's the thing. I'm like, I thought it did.
Because same, like, because it did in the beta. Like,
maybe it's because he doesn't have any way of indicating that it is working that you can. I don't know. So no medic nearby indicator. Cannot mark down teammate for reviving. Battlefield 1 introduced this mechanic. Battlefield 5 also had it. You can mark down teammates and let them know you're coming to revive them, as well as this is also gone.
Yeah.
Cannot change the zoom of the minimap. This is vital quality of life feature and for obvious reasons. Tactical sprint is pointless. The tactical sprint introduced in 2042 merely increases the speed at which you run with no downsides. This is in contrast to Modern Warfare. A tactical sprint has a cooldown and a bigger delay on your weapon going ADS. So we are at risk as if you don't want a tactical sprint all the time. There's no depth to this movement motion in Battlefield 2042. Lack of overall cohesion of gameplay elements, no soul. Various different gameplay elements and designs of the game do not mix well together. There's no cohesion. There's no soul. Everything feels tacked off as different teams work on different things in their own bubbles without communicating to each other to make various features of the game fit and work. Most there's no incentive to. Lack of match-ending music. I saw some of that. I don't know if that's true. Vehicle customization. The customization for aircraft and helicopters is also severely limited. They got rid of JDAM, Hydra rockets, active radar from Battlefield 4. There are no perk trees, and the one found in Battlefield 5 for any of the vehicles in this game. There's just not much content in this game. You can play it for a week, and honestly, it becomes boring after that. Cannot switch squads easily. Cannot lock your own squad. Cannot switch teams. All of the functionalities are completely gone. All chat. We cannot communicate with the enemy team, so if your efforts to combat toxicity and negativity, you destroyed any sense of community and general positivity from the players of each player. Why punish players for using all chat in previous? Well, I don't give a fuck about that.
I'm not going to lie. You can't combat toxic players. Oh, yes, because people chatting to the other team.
Editing of your loadouts. You can't edit your loadout in the main menu just in-game.
Yeah.
That's fucking stupid. Why? Why would they get rid of that?
Because, they know better than you. No, it's definitely been that. Again, that's why I have such mixed feelings about this game. Is because again, it's fun. I'm 100%. It is a fun game, very well done combat. I'll give it that. But the issue is,
it's not a Battlefield.
Exactly. Well, I mean,
it is a Battlefield.
It is a Battlefield. But my issue is that there are business practices that are going on right now that clearly just are not good. And the issue is that these were business practices that weren't like, hey, we were dealing with certain limitations. We're trying to meet expectation of release times. We're trying to help this. And 100%, I could understand why a company under certain circumstances would say, hey, we released a game that wasn't at the very best quality that we could, but we thought, especially with today's market, we could improve it as we go along, so that way we could meet the time frame of people who wanted to play it. Cool, right? No, these are business practices that they are actively going out of their way, making conscious decisions to say, fuck this, we don't think our players need this. Fuck this, we don't think our players need this. Fuck this, we don't think our players need this. And they're doing it over and over on things that have been standard for not even just Battlefield, but for other games.
I don't understand the logic behind getting rid of some of this stuff.
Some of it, again, is probably just trying to see what the fuck you can get away with.
And then remember I know this is my personal preference, the zeroing of sniper rifles for range.
Yeah.
That's only available if you use a variable zoom scope.
I can understand if you're using iron sights, why it wouldn't change.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Short range scopes, why do you even need that? But at the same time, sniper rifles, there's no DMRs. You notice that? There's no DMRs. It's all it's pistols, assault rifles, SMGs, LMGs, sniper rifles, and then explosives.
I mean, technically there is a marksman rifle I use.
Right, it's a marksman rifle, but it's not you had in Battlefield 4, you had your sniper classes, your DMR classes, your SMG classes, your carbines, your ARs, your LMGs.
True. That's why I would say technically I would say that the DM57 is technically that, right. Marksman is technically that DMR. But as far as I know, there's only one. I don't know if there's any others. That might be it.
And it sucks because it's all the things that
because a lot of people like myself, that means I have one gun to play with, as far as I can tell. Because I like to do that, not quite sniper range, but further distances. Because especially going to other objectives. A lot of times giving support, at least in my experience, is something I like to do to people who are currently pushing the objective, because I'm out of the line of fire, but I can also kill a lot of people and help, clear for the team. I did that a lot in Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5. I still do it now, but the issue is excuse me, you have one firearm to do that with. That's it.
And the 3 pistols, by the way, are like a revolver.
I know one's a revolver.
Glock, and whatever the fuck else the other one is, I can't remember.
In the beta, we only had access to the revolver and the Glock.
Okay, so we had access to 75% of the pistols.
66%.
We still had one, I can't remember what it is. I want to say it's a sawn-off shotgun. Maybe. Oh, yeah, shotguns is another thing. We have shotguns.
3, I think.
3 shotguns?
In the game.
That's still not a lot.
So, no, it's not, because I know that there's the one that we had during the beta.
Right.
You know, the pump shotgun. I know there's one that's like a Winchester-esque, lever action.
The lever action is the pistol.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like the mule.
This was not a mare's leg, dude. This was This was a full ass shotgun. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that third pistol isn't also lever action. I'm just saying the shotgun that I saw in the game looked like a full length weapon. It was not it was not a sidearm. How about that?
Bro, my fucking legs hurt.
Same.
Mine aren't from doing leg day. Mine are from sitting in this fucking chair.
Mine are from doing leg day.
But point being is that Battlefield is just so
do leg day.
Yeah. It's so
there's so many bad business practices.
It's like a huge step backwards from what it was, and it's like
because even though the game, like I said, even though the game may be fun, there are serious quality of life things that they decided just not to do. There are several.
Well, now at this point, it's like I said, it's not even that much different from fucking Call of Duty.
I think part of it too is that they're taking a lot of the responsibility of their company away, because now the cheating thing, right? Now you can't tell who has good or bad ping. Now you can't tell who's at the top of the scoreboard. You can't tell who's cheating.
You can't even fucking match. You can't even find a server.
Right, you can't even
because you know what, they got rid of the custom server thing
because you can't change servers now. So now, you can't get away from toxicity on the game. Now you can't rematch people who were there previously. So now if you were in a game with someone who's really fucked up and they were cheating a lot, now you can't do anything about it because now they're gone into the ether. You know what I mean?
You can't tell.
You can't tell. And so it's taking a lot of, and sure, some of the quality of life things we've already discussed are just laziness on the company. But a lot of these, I don't think that this was because they wanted to see what they could get away with. I think this was, they didn't want to deal with the cheating problem that like Warzone or a lot of Call of Duty titles had. And they knew that it would eventually come to Battlefield.
So they took away the ability to see it.
Because eventually, let's be fair, and it's not even bad on Battlefield, but we knew eventually hackers would get in. Like, it's just how it is. But the issue now is they've taken all that responsibility away from themselves because they're trying to limit how much we know about it as physically possible. So now, if you do this now, which isn't hard because you're working on the game anyway, now what do? Who gives a fuck? Because now you don't have to keep track of that because we can't keep track of that.
Right.
So you don't have to fix it because if Battlefield says there's no cheating problem, there's no cheating problem.
It's unfortunate
because we all know Call of Duty got a lot of shit for how much of an issue they had.
Oh, it was bad.
But now
still is.
But now suddenly Battlefield doesn't have to deal with that.
Nope. Well, let's wrap this up. We're at almost 3 hours.
Very nice. Very nice.
Powered through.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I hate having you guys over just to do the podcast. I want to do more with you guys. It's just my fucking schedule. You guys have, isn't that fucked up? I got out of the military to have a more stable schedule, and I'm having a less stable schedule.
I mean, it's definitely ironic, but you are getting a disability check. I'm not, sir.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. The income from the VA has been quite nice, I must say. It's helped out a lot. It's alleviated a lot of my stress. It's just right now, it's like the only thing that sucks is my job takes me away from the house all the time. And it's very invasive to scheduling. So it sucks. Like figuring out doing this on top of everything else that I'm doing. It's like I got to, be a man in the house, but also work and then do this hobby that I'm trying to make into something, which is not, it's starting to grow a little bit at a time, but it's not where I want it to be just yet. But
well, also too, once it takes off enough to where it's supplementing some of your schedule, you know what I mean?
Oh, when I start school, because I'm going back to school, I'm going part-time. I'm going part-time work. I'm going full-time school, part-time work, and just ride off my GI Bill and my disability check.
Oh, hell yeah. And the disability check also helps a lot, too, because that's just another source of income.
It's a source of income, and it never goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And then the GI Bill, that'll be, that's going to be it's going to be a little bit more than what I'm getting for disability, but it'll be there. And then the part-time job shit is going to be just to supplement whatever is left over. And I could work, I did the math on it, to have the same amount of income now, to work less, I could narrow myself down to 3 work days.
Not gonna lie, if you get with the right company, you might be able to get away with like 310s or 312s. Get a little bit more money in the pocket, but you still only have those 3 work days.
Well, my 3 work days, I'm gonna have them during the week. Like I'll work like a second shift, class in the morning, second shift, and then class in the morning, second shift, and just like 3 days during the week.
I don't know. It depends. Like 100%, I would even look for a third shift just to get that little extra money.
No, I will never do third shift. That overnight shit going into school. Fuck that.
I'm just saying, man. Just something to consider, that's all.
Well, anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We love you. We appreciate you. Go ahead and like and follow, subscribe, do all those cool internet things.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe on the video. My God. Anyway, have a good night, everyone. Have a good rest of your week.
See you guys later.
Bye-bye.